What's up, buddy? Slang, what's good, man? Been a hot 72 hours? I don't know. The Gucci fedora? I don't know about that. I think your fedora is safe. Wouldn't want to be caught dead with one of those damn things. Come on, man. It's in my fucking description. And I can't change it. Because if I change it, it legit will be like, because I have ass hat in it. And that was before they went like super modding. So now if I try to change it or even edit it a little bit, it won't allow me. So now I just don't save it. I'm just like, yep, I ain't changing this. So what's up to you, buddy? Are you well? Good, good. Well, even though this right here actually isn't it's Drinking Friday, damn, you can be fucking wasted. Yeah, this right here is gonna be just us talking about this new patch that's coming up. So technically 4 more days until we end up in Standard. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The new patch, new league, and everything. So we're going to see what it's all about. We don't know yet. We're going to find out together, buddy. That's what this is about. It's going to be probably an hour to 2 hours. And we're just going to be talking about it, and we'll see what it's like. That's what this countdown is. I wish I had a cool-ass countdown like this, but nah. This is a fucking countdown. They allow us to restream, so believe it or not, just by you being here for 45 minutes while I'm streaming this under Path of Exile, you will get these wings. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. So if you ever do one day play some Path of Exile, you will get these wings, hopefully whenever it loads. It's all good. Have you linked your Twitch account with like Steam, or just linked it in general? Just by getting it here, like your Twitch account, if you're available and able to receive drops, you have the potential to at least get something, you know, so. And of course it's fucking lagging like a motherfucker. Oh well. Well, anyway. It's kind of like Prime Loop, but not really. There must be hella people fucking hitting up the website. The website fucking is crashed. Drop it in. Did you? Goddamn. Yeah, I'm not so lucky, so I didn't get any gifts on my end. Now that's very true. Sadly, Homeboy hasn't been around for a while. Give me 1 sec. Let me readjust my mic. Testing. Testing. This mic any better? How does my voice sound now? Is it better than before, or about the same? Yeah. It's fine? Cool. Wait. Yeah, about 14 minutes and 35 seconds. Here we go. I know that's the only thing I really got going for me doing it. Had to make sure. Sometimes I don't like it when there's an echo. I heard my thing once, and it's just my mic fucking up. It's just a setting, so I leave my mic unplugged. So when I replug it back in, depending on how I plug it back in or whatever, it sometimes goes nice and sometimes not so nice. So I'm trying to stay in the nice area. There are 40,000 people watching this with me. This countdown timer. Yeah, hit me with it. Probably not. I mean, sometimes. But if people type in smaller, shorter sentences, I can't tell. Hell, most of the people, amazingly enough, speak a different language. And speaking in English, like, they're fucking impressive, man. You guys over there in Europe, Middle East, and Asia, like, all you guys be able to speak 2 different languages. The closest I can speak to another language is Japanese, but that's still a great work in progress for myself. What's your first language? If you don't mind me asking. Yeah, no problem. Well, you gotta also remember, with texting and typing, a lot of people, they fuck up a lot, okay? when they type stuff, so it's hard to tell if they're just, like, typing in, like, slang, or if they're being legit. Gotcha. You could try using, like, expand. You want to expand instead of, like, a richer vocabulary. That's fine too, but you want to expand your your words, or expand your vocabulary. You can do it that way too. But also remember, you don't want to use too big of words, because then you become, especially in American culture, a fucking nerd, and you don't really want to be in the nerd category, even though them's the people that make all the money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it just... What do you mean, too capital? I mean... That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You can even just say the what's up. But, you know, what's up? I don't know, like, I don't really see... It's weird reading it. Does that make sense? Like, I can get it, but that's like trying hard. You know what I'm saying? that's like someone trying to fit in. That's like thinking of it like a fucking 40 or 50-year-old walking up to a group of kids going, "Hi there, kids. What are you doing here today?" Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Because most people won't actually use the word richer, but expand, I believe, would be, you know. Now, if you want to expand your vocabulary, you probably want to use words. Yeah, it's definitely understandable for sure. But I would say also, if you want to, together we thrive. I like it. At first, I thought it was like we survive, but I had to read it again. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man? Look at that, so forceful. Look at that, just right off the end right there, going for it, huh, Sling? Well, what's up, buddy? How you guys all doing? We got 9 minutes. Oh, absolutely, yeah. Right now, I'm debating if I'm gonna do hard mode, because I'm curious to see what hard mode is, but I might just do hard mode off stream and just play whatever this league mechanic is and find out how they adjusted, what was it, the Atlas, see what this league mechanic is, etc, etc, etc. But I'm still curious what hard mode's all about. I know obviously it's gonna be harder, but I can die, and I just want to see what the lower drops are, because if the lower drops aren't that big of a deal, I'm cool with it. But if they are something, then, you know, I don't know. Oh, you want 1,000,000 points? Bro, I can't give... Oh, I mean, technically I could, but nah, hell no. Come on, you got a heist like everyone else. Come on, dude. We'll get a heist going right now. How about that? You gotta gamble your way to victory, buddy. Come on. I don't want you being one of them fucking beggars. You're better than that. Boom. Gamble. Damn it. Nice. Look at that. See? Nothing gained, nothing lost. My gamble is actually really nice. Before, it used to be 49 and below. Bam. Damn, bro. You only got 517? Alright, here's some pity points, then. I'll give you some pity points. Oh, look at that. See? You just rolled. That's good. That's very good. Here, but... Alright. I got you. Here you go. This is my pity points I give away. Boom. Enjoy. But yeah, see? I gotta hold you back, because if you gamble too much, see, then you get addicted. You feel me? I can't feed your addiction. You're gonna toss it all? Well, then just don't do the sluts. You do the sluts, you're gonna definitely lose all your fucking jellos there. Oh, no, sluts. Here, watch, I'll show you how to lose points. And that's how I just lost 1,000 points like that. Oh, hell yeah, look at that. I did it. Were you in there? Did you also heist? Bro, you didn't heist. You see, you messed up, man. Should've heist. Oh, damn, look at that. It was close. If only the wing was the other way, you might have... Well, it's too late right now, because the heist is on a cooldown. But yeah, whenever we go heist... Boom. Like that. So another 273 seconds. You see? We just gotta wait, that's all. And speaking of waiting, 6 minutes. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Well, technically, you do just get points by being in here, but then constantly gambling whenever it's ready, and doing heists. Well, sluts, gamble, heist. Like I said, because before, my stream was legit a non-stop gambling stream. Like, I would just see people going, gamble. And I'm like, Jesus, guys, I gotta put the fucking cooldown on you, because, like, my entire chat was non-stop gambling. You see what I'm saying? I'm telling you, bro, the gamble, it's strong. A lot of people... They just loved it. And then eventually, because they were gambling all the time... Why 5 minutes? Because... What? Alright. You don't understand. People's greed is fucking enormous. Alright? So, when I put it at 1 minute... All I would see would just gamble. Every minute, it would be gamble. Respect to the fucking hustle. These boys wanted their fucking points. And I told them, alright guys, I gotta put at least 2 minutes. And holy shit, that's when you see the fucking gambling addicts come out. It's like, no, why? Now remember, just by chilling and just like talking to me here, you get your points and everything too. So it's a little different, but like I said, dude, it's a little annoying, and especially if I'm trying to talk to y'all, and all I see is just constant the gamble, you know. Well, remember, you did switch to, like, what, 7 different accounts because you kept forgetting your main account? So, Whose fault is that there, huh, Slang? I think there's only one person for that. Remember that? Oh, damn. Okay. Okay. Look at that. Look at that. Alright, now I may be quiet every now and again. That's just because I'm grubbing. But, we got 4 minutes, so... trying to wolf down some food, you feel me? And, dude, trust me, you're not the only one. Like I said, when everyone else was also fucking doing that thing, dude... that's why there's a timer. See, you guys don't... I'm doing this for you guys' own good. Okay? It's for you guys, alright? Oh yeah, and it's a maximum of 1,000. You see? Oh no, can you do all in? I allowed that a few times, but yeah. What'd I tell you, man? Excuse me. You just locked in. You can't stop. What do you mean? On YouTube? There's a couple. They're a little different. Uh-oh, let's go. We're getting there. We're getting there, bro. Together we thrive. 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Although I think on the YouTube there's no gamble, but there is a heist. So, you did try it, but I think you might have to put in a specific number. Yeah, I don't think you can do... I think it's, try like heist 100. Oh yeah, there it is. Right, we'll see. We thrive. Do you know which build you're going for? Or you can even try hard mode, or you just going straight League and going for whatever new updates they do? Oh shit. Less than 50 seconds. "30 seconds. Woo-wee. And then when he's talking, I'm gonna be muting my mic, so... The heist does. But that's about it. Excuse me. Well, you have to remember, you have to put a number behind it. Alright, I'm gonna mute my mic for the beginning of this so we can talk.
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games. Welcome to the Work From Home edition of our Path of Exile announcement livestream. Thanks for joining us as we discuss all the details of the upcoming Path of Exile Scourge expansion, which releases on October 22nd for PC and October 27th on console. For today's livestream, Twitch drops are enabled. Check out the link below the stream for more information on how to claim your free Dragonfly wings. First up, we'll showcase the trailer for Path of Exile Scourge. Then we'll take a deep dive through all the details of its Challenge League and rewards. After that, we'll talk about the improvements we're making to Path of Exile's endgame and the various types of new aspirational content we're adding for you to benchmark your best characters against. Next up, we'll talk about some big improvements to the passive skill tree and we'll reveal this expansion's new skills. After discussing some balance changes and the new guild quality of life features, we'll head into a live Q&A stream where I chat with community streamer Ziggy D. Oh, and after the Q&A, we'll post the entire expansion's patch notes. I'm proud to present the official trailer for Path of Exile Scourge.
The day the demons found our world, the innocent were first to die. They approach your world, your Raycast. You must take the fight to them. Embrace the power of chaos. Become more than mortal. Face the nightmare. They are ravenous. They are endless. They are the Scourge.
The Path of Exile Scourge expansion contains a lot of new content and features that we'll reveal to you today. Let's start with its namesake, the Scourge Challenge League. Upon leaving Lion Eye's watch, you're startled by a figure appearing out of nowhere, trying to escape from something you can't see. She hands you a rusty-looking device called the Blood Crucible and urges you to implant it into your body. As you play through each area in the Scourge Challenge League, the Blood Crucible fills with the blood spilled by monsters you have slain. Once it reaches a certain threshold, you're able to activate the device. This will instantly thrust you into a parallel reality, an alternate Rayclast where some form of apocalyptic event is occurring. This Rayclast is overrun by demons known as the Scourge. They're powerful, dangerous, and come in many forms. The more blood you have collected, the longer you can stay shifted into the parallel Rayclast. But the longer you stay, the more damage you'll take. When the Crucible's blood runs out or you choose to shift back, you are instantly returned to your original location in our Rayclast to continue your journey. So why enter an alternate reality to fight a horde of ravenous demons? The answer to that question is exactly what you expect from Path of Exile. You're not there to save the world, you're there to find cool items. You can put an item inside the Blood Crucible. While you are killing the Scourge, it absorbs corruption from the alternate Rayclast and focuses it onto the item. After enough kills, your item is ready to transform. When it does, it becomes corrupted and gains a pair of Scourged modifiers. One of these is a beneficial mod and one is a detrimental mod. These Scourged mods are in addition to the regular explicit and implicit mods or enchantments on the item. There are many powerful beneficial mods available that can really improve your item. The detrimental mods can significantly raise the requirements of the item, penalize your character's stats such as resistances, or outright turn off various mechanics like the ability to deal fire damage or gain charges. The goal of the transformation process is to get a beneficial mod that makes your item a lot more powerful, while also rolling a detrimental mod that doesn't hurt your build much or at all. But if you get a combination you're unhappy with, then your item is not ruined. By putting it back in the Blood Crucible and killing even more monsters in the alternate Rayclust, you can transform it a second time, potentially getting a better pair of mods that overwrite the first. Equipment can be transformed up to 3 times, and each time it guarantees a minimum tier of beneficial and detrimental mods equal to the number of times it has been transformed. By the 3rd tier, you can start to get some very powerful effects. The Blood Crucible works on already corrupted items, so it's possible to add Scourged mods to items that you thought couldn't be improved any further. Talking about corrupted items, you're going to need a way to modify their sockets. While in the alternate Rayclust, you can find Tainted Chromatic Orbs, Tainted Jeweler's Orbs, and Tainted Orbs of Fusing, which work exactly the same as their regular counterparts but can only be used on corrupted items. Tainted Orbs provide a significantly easier and cheaper way of modifying the sockets on your corrupted items than the crafting bench does. While it's obvious that Scourged items can be among Path of Exile's most powerful endgame equipment, it's worth considering the huge impact that good Scourge modifiers can have on your run through the campaign. In our testing, we often manage to Scourge items that are far more powerful than leveling uniques. As you slay the Scourge and other monsters while shifted, the Blood Crucible gains experience and can level up. You can allocate its skill points in its own passive skill screen, which allows it to specialize in many aspects such as unlocking additional item slots, faster item transformation, better transformation outcomes, the ability to transform unique items, and so on. It's possible to eventually allocate every single one of the Blood Crucible skills, but it requires a lot of demon slaying. Scourge's endgame is one where you control the level of risk and reward, or as we like to say in the business, it has a lot of player agency. Once you're exploring the Atlas of Worlds, you may gain the ability to place maps in the Blood Crucible alongside your equipment. When a map absorbs enough corruption and transforms, it gains a beneficial and detrimental effect in the same way that a piece of equipment does, but can also gain a modifier that changes the behavior of Scourge League in that map entirely. After all, when you combine 2 types of alternate realities together, the results are bound to be unpredictable. Maps can be transformed up to 10 times, increasing their risk and reward substantially each time. When a map is transformed a second or subsequent time, there's a chance that the new beneficial or detrimental modifiers stack alongside the existing ones, enhancing their power, or a chance that new modifiers are added. Be careful not to transform your maps too many times, of course, as they may become too dangerous to complete. Path of Exile Scourge introduces 6 new unique items, of which 3 have been added to the core drop pool and 3 can be found in specific aspirational content that we'll reveal later in the livestream. Ul'Natol's Vow is an amulet that effectively enables you to turn any 6-linked body armor into a 7-link. Support gems you socket into this amulet apply to skills in your body armor. While specific mods on items have allowed players to create 7-link skills in the past, this amulet lets you choose whatever support gem you want, including corrupted or awakened ones. It's only possible to find this unique item in specific content that we'll reveal later in the livestream. The new Mage Blood Belt is one of the most powerful unique items to ever exist in Path of Exile. It permanently enables a number of your utility flasks, providing their benefits constantly with no work required on your part. This belt means that regardless of what your build is, you'll sustain your utility flasks during 100% of gameplay, even long boss fights. Mage Blood is in the core drop pool and is exceptionally rare. Early next year, we will release a huge overhaul of Path of Exile's Atlas of Worlds endgame in the 3.17 expansion. In the meantime though, our October Scourge expansion introduces a bunch of changes that speed up how quickly you can set up and progress through your Atlas. We're also introducing more types of ultra-challenging endgame content for top players who want to put their best characters to the test. In order to substantially shorten the length of the Atlas grind, we've reduced the number of regions from 8 to 4. This implicitly reduces the number of watchstones required from 32 to 16. We have also reduced the number of maps on the Atlas, so it's now approximately 100 plus the unique maps. We've rebalanced the bonuses for completing content so that by the time your Atlas is fully unlocked, you'll receive a slightly higher level of benefit than you did before. Because the number of regions has been halved, so have the number of Atlas passive trees. There are now 4 plus the Uncharted Realms. We've made each tree slightly larger and removed some less frequently used or duplicated skills. You'll still be awarded the same number of Atlas passive skill points as before. With these changes, each map you play constitutes far more progress than it previously did. About half as much work is now required to reach Path of Exile's ultimate endgame. We've made some other changes to streamline the endgame also. For example, now when you unveil a modifier, all tiers of that modifier are immediately unlocked at the crafting bench. This applies to every veiled modifier, including the very rare ones. Many of Path of Exile's past leagues have an endgame component that is designed to challenge the best players with the best builds. Over time, more and more of Path of Exile's experienced players have managed to defeat the game's hardest content. Our most difficult endgame content doesn't pose as much of a challenge as it once did. In the Scourge expansion, we have added a set of new aspirational content, Uber versions of Breach, Blight, Legion, an extension to Delirium Simulacrum, and a revamp of Delve. Breach's endgame involves running Breach Stones, which can be placed in the map device to open portals to a Breach Lord's domain. For each Breach Lord, there are currently 4 tiers of Breach Stones, and you can upgrade between them using blessings. Path of Exile Scourge introduces a new tier, Flawless Breach Stones. These can't be obtained via blessings, but are instead found in the Maven encounters where you fight the Breach Lords in their most challenging forms. These Flawless Breach Stones require a substantially more powerful character to complete, but have rewards appropriate for their difficulty. Existing Breach Stones now have 2 random modifiers, from a pool that doesn't include build disabling ones, such as not being able to leech, and the new Flawless Breach Stones have 4 of these modifiers, which represents a significant jump in difficulty. They can drop special versions of the Grasping Male body armor, which has a specific fractured modifier themed around the Breach Lord of that domain. The Ulnatal's Vow unique amulet we revealed earlier can only be obtained through Flawless Breach Stones. All Breach Stones have been modified so that the items you earn from monsters are now dropped in the spiral at your feet when you complete or fail the event. In addition, rare monsters and Breach domains drop an additional random reward type, such as Scarabs, Maps, or Divination cards, with Flawless Breach Stones adding 2 additional reward types. All Breach Stones are far more rewarding than before. Blighted maps were previously our pinnacle Blight content and could be anointed up to 3 times to increase their difficulty and rewards. In the Scourge expansion, while you're playing Blighted maps, you may find a Blight Ravaged map. These have increased monster difficulty and are always monster level 85. They can be anointed up to 9 times with up to 3 of any one type of anointment. These incredibly challenging encounters can also yield one of Scourge's powerful new unique items. In Legion, you can combine up to 5 timeless emblems to enter the domain of timeless conflict. While playing the domain in this expansion, you can find unrelenting emblems, which can be mixed and matched with timeless emblems for a substantially more challenging and rewarding encounter. Delirium Simulacrum encounter has been extended, with 10 additional waves of combat. As you can expect, these extremely difficult extra waves are very rewarding and feature escalating chances for a Delirium boss to spawn. With each wave you play, the Simulacrum now has increasing chances of dropping Cluster Jewels and past wave 20 Delirium unique items. Previously, you could only get a maximum of 1 Delirium unique item per Simulacrum, but now you can walk out with multiple high-value items such as Voices. Simulacrums not only represent a lot more value now, but also an opportunity to truly test your character against some of Path of Exile's hardest content. In addition, Delirium Orbs are now a lot more common, and Delirium's rewards have been improved, due to less popular ones like Prophecy and Talisman being removed entirely. We've made quite a few changes to Delve in the Scourge expansion. The first change is that we have completely rebalanced the entire thing so it's just more rewarding and more challenging at earlier depths. In general, monsters scale to have more life but less damage than before. We've improved monster skills and biome modifiers to make deeper depths more challenging to go with their better rewards. Due to these changes, we've wiped the standard Delve ladders but have retained your previous depth on your characters. To get back on the ladder, just play at whatever depth you are still able to complete. We've also improved the Delve catch-up mechanic. Previously, if you entered Delve for the first time at level 90, you'd be taken to a depth that is the equivalent of Tier 1 maps. Now would be taken to the equivalent of Tier 13 maps. This means that if you want, you can essentially ignore Delve until the late game rather than having to play as you go. We've increased the base Soulfight cap from 600 to 1200. Underground cities are now more common and you'll encounter bosses more often, including all. You can rarely find fractured items with Delve modifiers on them. We've also increased Fossil and Resonator availability throughout the Azurite Mine. Fossil availability outside of Delve has been reduced. All Resonators drops are now Chaotic Resonators, with Alchemical Resonators not dropping anymore. We've also improved the least powerful fossils. It has been a long time since we've done a big rework of Path of Exile's iconic passive skill tree. The Scourge expansion includes quite a lot of changes, and before I list them, I want to emphasize that our goal here has been to keep the tree as similar to before as possible. All of your years of muscle memory will not be wasted. The tree will still feel like the back of your hand despite our changes. While planning this rework, we examined every aspect of the passive skill tree. We reviewed and improved each of the tree's class start areas, we added new clusters of skills, improved existing ones, and concentrated power more directly on each skill's primary function. The process of doing this identified that many passive skills had niche stats that didn't matter to most characters or distracted away from the purpose of what the skill was trying to do. When we took niche stats away from a skill, we buffed the primary function of the skill so that it was more concentrated on one purpose. While I'm sure that powerful passive skills sound great to you, you're probably wondering what happened to all of those niche stats. You see, while we were doing this revamp, we realized that specific build-enabling niche stats appearing in specific locations on the tree actually constrained players' passive builds in quite severe ways. Players who wanted to get several specific niche stats often had little flexibility with the rest of their tree because they had to plan around getting to the specific clusters that had those niche stats in them. We decided we wanted to solve both problems at once here, to move niche stats off the main tree, but also to provide a way to get them, preferably from many different locations all over the passive skill tree. And that's how we came up with a passive Masteries system. Outside of the class start locations, all passive skill clusters that have a notable passive in them now contain a passive mastery. When you allocate the first notable passive in each cluster, a mastery becomes available to allocate in that cluster. When you spend a passive skill point on the mastery, you can choose a specific stat to gain. This list is shared with all the clusters on the tree that have the same theme, so you can travel to any of them to get the stat you want. As you allocate a mastery stat, it's crossed off the list for that theme. This mastery system has essentially let us add hundreds of powerful new notable passives that you can access from all over the tree. In addition to the stats that we moved into masteries when consolidating power on the rest of the tree, we got to come up with a bunch of new interesting niche stuff to enable even more builds. We've also rebalanced a few keystone passives, changed the locations of some, and added 6 new keystones to the tree. Overall, Path of Exile's passive skill tree is now a lot more powerful, with concentrated power coming from core passives, and a selection of build-enabling niche stats available on masteries for you to pick between. Path of Exile Scourge introduces a whole variety of new skill gems with many different purposes. 2 of them are new concepts unlike anything we have done before. These ones are designed to immediately create entirely new builds that have a lot of potential. There's also a utility skill that will help characters stay alive, a variation on an existing skill gem, and 6 new gems designed for party play. Let's go through the new skills. Energy Blade is a new skill that transforms your melee weapons into, well, energy blades. A large portion of your energy shield is converted into the lightning damage that these blades deal. This opens up an entirely new melee energy shield archetype, where you want to stack as much energy shield as possible to get the most powerful blades you can. Conveniently, the defenses rework in this expansion is very compatible with this plan. Temporal Rift is a new utility skill that allows you to rewind your character's state by 4 seconds. After activating the skill, it starts storing your position, life, mana, and energy shield values every quarter second. When you use the skill again, you will rerun back to 4 seconds ago. The build shown here uses the Forbidden Rite skill introduced in the last expansion. This skill does a lot of damage, but also hurts the caster when used. Temporal Rift allows this player to snapshot their full life orb, cast Forbidden Rite a lot, and then revert back to full life to keep casting. Not only is Temporal Rift incredibly useful in hardcore mode for obvious reasons, or while exploring maps efficiently, but it also enables some interesting tricks with mana. Come to think of it, it'll be pretty cool in Delve as well if you don't mess up the timing. Temporal Rift also prevents temporal chains from affecting you while it is in use. Tornado is another new skill. As the name suggests, it creates a tornado that relentlessly moves towards enemies and pulses with damage. While the tornado is forming, you have a couple of seconds where it will absorb damage from projectiles you hit it with. Fire as many projectiles as you can into it during that period and it'll power up, greatly increasing its damage output. In the Expedition expansion, we introduced a skill called Explosive Concoction. Based on player feedback, we're improving the skill so that its projectiles are thrown faster, have a higher base crit chance, and have greater speed. Now that we feel that Explosive Concoction is sufficiently powerful, we're introducing a similar new skill called Poisonous Concoction. As the name implies, this one deals poison damage rather than fire damage, and consumes charges from your life flasks rather than your elemental flasks. Poisonous Concoction scales its damage based on how much life the consumed flasks recover, which encourages you to craft your flasks to take advantage of this. It's quite rare for us to introduce skills that only work for party play, but in the Scourge expansion we've created a set of 6 that function in similar ways but do different things. These link skills create a bond between you and a specific party member, providing a big benefit to them while they stay within range, but with the very important drawback that if they die, so do you. Soul Link protects your target by causing a percentage of damage they are dealt to be applied to your energy shield instead. If you have built a tanky character with a lot of energy shield, then you and your target will be protected by it. Protective Link grants your target a chance to block attacks that is equal to yours, and also grants some life gain on block to them. By default, the obvious use of this Link skill is to allow you to specialize in block, and then use it to protect an ally that is specialized in something else, like damage. But there are some cool tricks you might discover. For example, the Glancing Blows keystone passive doubles your block chance, but changes that so that you still take some damage from blocked attacks. In conjunction with Protective Link though, your target will receive your doubled block chance, but won't receive the drawback. Intuitive Link is socketed alongside a spell on your character, and that spell is triggered from your target's location when they hit an enemy. This could be useful, for example, if you have a party member who's cycloning through enemies, and you can trigger your spells from within those packs of enemies without having to get close yourself. There are 3 other Link skills that we will reveal closer to release. As this expansion does include significant nerfs to Aura bot characters who stack auras for the benefit of their party members, these Link skills give them a viable, more active playstyle. Link skills cannot normally be used with your minions, but we're adding a minion mastery to the passive skill tree that allows you to use Link skills with them. However, this has a high ongoing mana cost that is difficult to stay on top of. In Path of Exile Scourge, we've done a lot of balance work improving flasks, ailment mitigation, general character defenses, and elemental damage over time. We have made some changes to how stacking auras and curses works, and have buffed most awakened support gems. We've posted about the changes we intend in the last couple of weeks, and have been iterating on these changes based on testing and your feedback. We are posting the full Scourge patch notes after the Q&A portion of this livestream, so we'd encourage you to check out the full details of the balance changes there. We first introduced guilds alongside Path of Exile's initial release in October 2013. Our guild leaders and members have been patient for a very long time, and after 8 years, we're rewarding that patience with a wave of guild quality of life features. As a game about items, the functional heart of a Path of Exile guild is its stash. You can finally control-click items into and out of your guild stash and access other features such as the drop-down list of stashes, drag-and-drop stash ordering, affinities, etc. We have also introduced guild versions of all of the types of premium stash tabs, so guilds can finally enjoy popular tabs such as currency or map tabs. While shared guild tabs are a little more expensive than individual tabs because of their server costs and development overhead, we have bundled all of the exotic ones together in a single discounted bundle for guilds that want to invest in the whole lot at once. We have also added the ability to export a CSV file of your guild stash activity log for convenient auditing. We wanted to pair functional with fun, so we have introduced guild hideouts. Guild leaders can select any in-game or microtransaction hideout that they have unlocked and create a guild hideout based on that template. These hideouts are a great place to hold guild meetings or to just have as a space for members to meet up between maps. If you're hanging out in your guild's hideout, you can use its map device as though it was your own. We understand that not everyone is in a guild, so there's one hideout-related feature that we wanted to mention. We have entirely removed the favor system from Path of Exile. From this expansion onwards, all hideout decorations that could previously be obtained with favor are now available to all players in unlimited quantities, both personal and guild hideouts. Now, there's nothing stopping you from making the hideout of your dreams. We've also added a system that allows you to filter decorations by tag because there are just so many available to you by default now. Alongside Path of Exile Scourge, we're introducing the Expedition content from our last expansion into Path of Exile's core game, with a few adjustments. Expedition artifacts are no longer tradable items, which has 2 key effects. The first is that they are automatically collected as you complete expeditions, and the second is that all characters can now engage with the Conqueror merchants without having to feel that their best plan is to trade the currency away to other players who may use it more efficiently than them. It's a difficult decision working out whether to make specific items tradable or not, but we feel that on balance, this new approach will solve several problems with the system. It's also worth noting that the currency items that allow you to re-roll the vendor's inventories are still tradable. You'll start finding expeditions from Act 6 onwards. There's an 8% chance for a map to contain an expedition, and they can be further augmented through investment in the appropriate Atlas passive skill tree. As we move new leagues to core, we will replace outdated obsolete content. In this case, Expedition replaces Perandus. Details are in the patch notes. While clicking on items is a critical part of playing an action RPG, there's a fine line before it becomes a chore, and we're trying hard to make sure that clicks on items come with appropriate reward. Expedition artifacts being automatically picked up isn't the only improvement we're making to reduce unnecessary clicks in this expansion. In order to make sure that each stack of currency items is worth a click, we're trying out a system where currency items drop less frequently, but in larger stack sizes. For example, Scrolls of Wisdom in the late game might drop 1/10 of the time, but when they do, it'd be in stacks of 6 to 14. This means that the click that you will make will gain you a much more meaningful amount of currency at once. We have applied this to many different types of currency items, and the effect of the system gets larger as you get further into the game. In addition, we've had a look at instances where item drops happen simultaneously, and we've made it so that items that can drop in stacks will automatically do so. This includes at the end of delves, incursions, rituals, blight encounters, breach zones, and the simulacrum. We have also applied this approach to many chests and areas like splinter drops throughout Path of Exile. Before we move on to our final announcement and live Q&A, let's have a quick look at the new set of supporter packs that are available right now to celebrate the launch of Path of Exile Scourge and help fund ongoing development of Path of Exile. Based on player feedback, we've increased the value of the $30 and $60 supporter packs by adding $5 worth of points to each one. This means that you now receive the full value of what you spend in points, with the new sets of exclusive cosmetic microtransactions on top. These include armor sets, weapon skins, portals, shields, and helmet attachments. The Ancient Dread pack contains an exclusive pair of wings, and the Intrepid Liege pack contains an exclusive pet. These new packs each have 3 value tiers that you can upgrade between within their respective series. Thank you so much for your support. Purchases of these supporter packs make expansions like Scourge possible. Shortly we'll begin our Q&A and we'll answer your burning questions, but first, we have another quick announcement to make. In the Expedition League, we teamed up with Twitch rivals to run our first ever Path of Exile Royale live tournament. This event saw our favorite content creators teaming up in pairs to compete for awesome prizes. We're excited to announce that following the launch of Path of Exile Scourge, we're doing it again. This time around, competitors will compete alone, but we've added a unique twist. Towards the end of the match, surviving players may encounter a brutal but rewarding boss fight, which could have significant strategic implications for how they play the match. There's $30,000 of cash on the line alongside some of Path of Exile's best microtransactions. Tune in on October 28th at twitch.tv/twitchrivals to see who will decimate their competition. That concludes the reveal portion of this livestream. Keep an eye on our news next week as we reveal more details about the Scourge expansion. In the meantime, these reveals are already live on YouTube for you to link to your friends in case they missed the livestream. Please do so, and join us as we battle the Scourge alongside you next week. It's now time for the Q&A. If you have any questions about what we've shown you today, please get them ready because I'm about to be joined by Ziggy D as we answer your questions from Twitch chat, and after that, we'll be posting the full Path of Exile Scourge patch notes.
Well, okay. Oh, I clicked on Twitch and I clicked on my name. And then you scroll down and it says drops. I'm at 64%. Your name at the top right. Then scroll down. Yeah. I'm at 64% now, so. Angelo here. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back, viewers of my stream. So guys, we just finished, for the most part, the Scourge explanation kind of thing. And, dude, that's some stuff right there. Bye-bye, Perandus. Get your ass out of here. Expedition's way better than you, so... Yeah, that ghost of a dude. I mean, he never gave you anything good anyway. Like, he'd always want, like, a shit ton of Perandus coins, and he gave you, like, a unique shield. Ooh, wow, yay. And it's not even that great of a shield. Like a couple chaos worth, but that's cool for starters. I'm interested on some of those gems. I don't know if any of you guys ever played Dota, or Dota 2, but there's a character named Io, and it would tether to you, and that's exactly what I saw. These guys must have been watching the International 10 or something like that, and they're like, all, Io? We could do that. Let's make a fucking link system, and bam, they got it. I'm also interested to see what else they can kind of come up with, but I believe Mono was saying it that this was kind of like a softball league, possibly. I like the changes. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with that passive skill tree. Another thing that I'm also interested in is just, is Scourge kind of like an alpha mission in a way? It kind of feels like that, but there's so many things that they were talking about. New gems, new systems, but to me that passive tree was huge. I love the fact that now that everything's going to be dropped in quantity sizes, and it's going to be like larger quantities. That is fucking amazing. I love that. But man, in a way, I kind of feel like there's not as much here, but I believe this is more of like a quality of life update. It's not like we're going to get more things, and it's just editing and getting rid of, or getting ready for that 3.17. Whatever 3.17 is going to be, that's going to be the big one.
They put all the work in the microtransactions.
I will admit that those microtransactions look pretty fucking good.
I was like, am I playing Path of Exile or Warframe?
Maybe both. Maybe both. Except, you know, you're not going to be shooting anything. This is not exactly that kind of Warframe, but interesting. And then I guess they said the Twitch Rivals thing's happening again, but I think Twitch Rivals are only Twitch streamers and invite only. So, I mean, $30,000 dues. Good luck to these guys. Oh, here it goes again.
Welcome back, folks. ZD here, joined once again by Chris Wilson. Good morning, Chris. How are you going?
Hey, good, thanks. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here.
That was a pretty massive set of reveals this time around. I feel like you guys have been working overboard, and I think chat's reaction has been pretty excited so far this morning.
Yeah, that was a lot to watch.
The patch notes releasing right after this presentation is a bit of a change as well. It's much sooner than usual. Have things gone really smoothly this time, or do you guys have like a new process or timeline for development now?
Yeah, we're trying to use the patch notes as a bit of a development aid. So previously what we'd have is people would make a lot of changes to Path of Exile, good and bad, and when it came down to actually explaining the changes to the players, in some cases we didn't actually have an explanation other than we feel like doing this change, which I feel is a perfectly valid way to change the game, but when you have to justify it later, it doesn't really hold water and doesn't make for a compelling explanation. So nowadays, we've taken to a process of actually identifying what are the problems we're going to solve. How would we describe that problem to the community? How would we summarize our solution to the community? And then work on the actual specifics of that. And so this has come across in the Balance Manifesto we posted. And also, it means a lot of the patch notes are ready early. And so we found that it helps a lot in the past. When we post patch notes, people start working on making their builds and so on. And so if we can get them out a few days before we normally do, that gives people an entire week to plan what they're doing in the league rather than just a couple of days. This is an experiment, though. It's taken a lot of work from a lot of people to get the patch notes ready for today. So I can't promise it all the time in the future, but hopefully it's something we can do.
Do you think it'll give Path of Building a chance to update a little earlier as well? You guys have
Everyone's wanting that right now. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Because yeah, I think I'm going to need the extra time with the new Mastery system and all of that. Seems like some pretty major changes there. But we'll get into that in a second. Let's start off with Scourge. So in the intro to Scourge, one part really stood out to me. You said that a stranger asks you to implant this rusty device into your body, and then the character just does it without question. So my question is, what's wrong with our characters?
I mean, you don't have to, right? If you don't get the red pill, as it were, you can just play the league without the device, and then nothing happens. You know, you don't get to shift and so on. We were going for a bit of a shock moment there, where the player's kind of expecting it to click nicely into the socket without any gore.
So wait, does it like burst out blood or something when you do it? Is it like an operating procedure or something?
Yeah, just imagine you're at some, dystopian future and you go to some body mod person for a cybernetic enhancement and they don't use any anesthetic and you're just getting it straight in. That's the kind of vibe we're going for here, is that there's no safety or hygiene going on with this operation.
Yeah, I think like a zombie infested beach is not exactly a clean operating environment. Nice. So do the Scourge monsters drop normal loot or other unique loot as well? It's not clear in the video because I assume you guys have loot labels turned off like usual.
So yeah, we do try to hide item drops during videos because it clutters it quite a lot when we're doing promotional stuff. But the Scourge monsters drop normal items from the regular drop pool. They'll occasionally drop pre-Scourged items, though I have to emphasize that's quite a rare drop to find. That's items that, have been, as though you put them in the Blood Crucible for a whole cycle. That will happen occasionally. And they also drop the Tainted Currency, so the new currency items that will let you modify sockets on items. And of course, there are bosses in Scourge. We didn't cover them at all on the live stream because we'd rather just leave that up to be a surprise. But, there's special drops for bosses, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Spoilers. The item dropping, I'm sure people are going to ask about this, but what happens if items drop in the other dimension and you don't pick them up when they drop?
So you can pick them up when they drop, but if you don't, then they're still there in the main world. And this is why the character is backtracked to where they were, because it means that you're going to have to play through the regular world version of that content just like you normally would, and the items that had dropped during the Scourge encounter are there for you to pick up. Now, maybe if you decide you're going to play Scourge in some place you've already played, then that might be an issue. But generally, in our testing, you're progressing forward through the area. And so you could just run forward when you're doing the Scourge encounter and pick the items up afterwards if you don't get a chance to grab them during it.
I think that's important because usually whenever there's any sort of like timed aspect to something, in this case, the blood vial slowly emptying out, people might not necessarily want to loot during that time to maximize their killing and so on. How does party play work in Scourge?
So the resource is shared among all the members in the party, and anyone can activate shifting into or out of Nightmare whenever the bar is at the right threshold, and this shifts everyone simultaneously. And you don't have to be the one that shifted into Nightmare to shift the party out of it. And then the other thing is, if someone dies while shifted, it costs a big chunk of the blood resource for everyone else. So basically, if your party are failing hard, you're going to get shifted out of it a lot earlier.
So it's a shared blood pool, but I guess it doesn't really like increase your total because everyone's spending their own rough amount. So it's the same amount of time you'd spend in solo then?
Yeah, exactly. You'll get the chance to shift far more frequently because of the fact that you've got a bunch of people in your party.
True. There's a lot of weird stuff to explore with this whole shifting mechanic. Like, what happened? How does it work with monsters being around you when you shift in? Are you just like in the middle of a pack sometimes? Is it random? Are they like spaced around players intelligently? How did you guys develop that system?
Well, this was an interesting one because we wanted to create the feeling of an alternate reality where there was a demon invasion going on. So like Delirium is adding monsters, but of course we still had to deal with the monsters that are in the current area. And I think players will find a good compromise where there's plenty of new stuff to fight, but of course it's not switching completely between two completely different realities as such. You do have an overlay of the monsters.
I feel like I'm walking into an ambush with this one.
It's worth noting as well that the enemies around you are knocked back and stunned at the point that you do the shift, so you do have a moment of reprieve from them.
That's very smart, because I was wondering, if you like just happen to shift in the middle of a pack, that's kind of unfortunate, but it sounds like you guys already have a counter mechanic to that.
So you can use shifting as a way of stunning nearby enemies if you like demons.
That's an interesting point actually, because we've had like Beyond Demons and then various other things that are similar-ish, like Breach and stuff like that. Are these guys at all connected to that, or a completely separate set of entities in the universe?
Yeah, there are plot implications of Scourge that go beyond the League, but it certainly is a new set of demons the player hasn't encountered before.
Okay, cool. What does the unique item can be transformed, upgrade in the Scourge passives do specifically?
So initially, we were just planning that you could Scourge your rare items, and so we decided that if the player invests into it and choose to spend points, then it's probably tolerable that people can Scourge uniques. And so this is the one we'll regret, I suspect, where people make some ridiculous chase uniques from their existing ones. So yeah, basically, if you choose to allocate that, then you get the ability to put uniques into the Blood Crucible and to Scourge them just like rare items.
I mean, I love the idea of like modifying uniques further, but it's effectively similar to corrupting, and that can already happen on uniques anyway, so it does make sense.
There's some pretty pushy stuff you can get here though, so I do wake up in a cold sweat thinking about the uniques sometimes.
Some interesting potential to combo with the actual unique mechanics themselves or anything like that?
Yeah, exactly. And like I want to emphasize with the Scourged items, right? So you watch the trailer and you see drawbacks and positive and negative mods, and you think, okay, maybe these items are usable, but honestly, the design is the following, right? There are negative mods that do not affect each build, and the way to win here is to get the negative mods that don't affect you. And so, practically speaking, good Scourged items are entirely upside, and then they turn off something your character doesn't even do. and you get multiple tries at gambling towards getting that. So it's not just a case of putting it in, ruining the item. Basically, you get your 3 shots, and it certainly creates some powerful stuff. Let's just say that.
Going back to that passive tree, how long does it take, roughly, do you estimate, to unlock the upgrades for that passive tree? And are they also shared across characters?
So they are shared across characters. It's league account, as we call it. So all the characters in that league on that account get access to it. So it's like your Atlas progress, for example. And you can generally unlock a lot of the passives on your first playthrough, right? It's not designed to take a mega grind to get what you need. But to unlock absolutely everything is possible. It's just going to take quite a while, right? Like, obviously, some players who play a lot will finish that within the league. But honestly, it's optional to specialize in literally all the things. You'll find some playstyle that suits what you're doing, and then your friend can make the other types of items that you're not making.
Are there any that you would necessarily want to turn off, and can they be turned off, or are they all just good anyway?
I'm pretty sure they all are pure upside. I mean, for example, there's one that says that when it transforms an item, it'll exalt a mod or it has a chance of exalting a mod onto an empty slot. There might be some absolute niche case where you don't want something added to that slot, but I honestly can't think of it, right? Like, it's corrupted, so you're not crafting it any further. Like, any mastercrafts and stuff, you've already had a chance to apply. So, unless we're adding like corrupted exalts or something like that in the future, this is entirely upside.
Uh-oh. On that note,
the Tainted Exalted Orb would be the name of that item, but I don't think that's happening.
Oh no. Do the tainted socket currencies have the same odds of rolling sockets and links as regular jewels and fusings, or are they an improved rate?
They have exactly the same odds as the regular ones.
Are they as common, or more or less common than the drops wise?
Different. They drop from Scourge monsters, so they're more common from those monsters, obviously, but then you're not spending all day fighting. Well, maybe you are spending all day fighting Scourge monsters if you're playing properly. There's no recipe to make these. Like, it's worth noting, a lot of existing items in the economy do come from vendor recipes. Like, we're looking at the math of Divine Orbs recently, and that's nuts. There's some sixlings getting traded in there. So it's also worth noting that the bosses drop a large chunk of the Tainted Orbs from Scourge, right? Like, if you're wanting to farm them, look for the bosses, kill those. And it's also worth noting that these are not meant to replace the crafting bench's Val recipes, right? Just to heavily augment it and to provide a much more convenient way of quickly changing some stuff on your items, and to prevent you having to like stock up on tons of Val orbs. But that's still a viable way of changing sockets. And the cheapest way of changing sockets is to do it before you corrupt the item, obviously.
Absolutely. So on the item scourging, how long does it take to scourge an item roughly? Like one map, multiple maps worth of demon slaying?
This depends a little bit on what Crucible passives you've allocated, because of course some of them will speed up the process with certain types of items, and you might decide to instead get better items and have the process go a bit more slowly. It also depends on where you are in the game, because obviously you're killing monsters faster potentially towards the end game due to the increased monster density that we've got in higher acts and maps, and also because your build kind of comes into its own. It also matters what tier of scourging you're going for. It's designed so the first tier of scourging is quite easy, and the remaining ones, which are kind of icing on the cake to get the good mods or to fix unlucky outcomes, certainly take a lot longer. Like, that's a choice that you have to make to do those ones. But basically, we've tried to pitch it so it's a few areas you play through in the campaign, which may become several maps or a number of maps when you're playing in the end game. I believe if you're doing like a tier 3 scourging project on some complicated item, it might take potentially more than 10, 20 maps to tier 3 scourge something, but this will come down a lot to final numbers that are still being tweaked in our last week of playtesting. We're expecting to drop this on alpha probably today with the league enabled, which will be nice because this one's ready ahead of schedule. So we'll get some good feedback from playtesters there. And please do not email me asking for alpha access. The policy is just to say no. We will be doing an intake at some stage, but we'll post that in the news, right? The only way to get in is through that news post. Don't email me. Okay. Sorry, I said it takes me like 20 hours of time later.
So do message you on MSN Messenger. Got it.
You can message me on MSN Messenger.
Nice. So I gotta ask the question design-wise. To scourge an item, you have to put it in a separate window, which unequips it from your character. Doesn't this kind of discourage you from scourging items that you're currently using, as you have to play for X amount of time without them, like up to 10, 20 maps, like you said?
Yes, it absolutely does. And that's intentional. And this is because when you scourge the item, you can totally ruin it, right? Like, there are downsides there. For example, if you turn off physical damage and you're a physical build, that item is not helpful to you for a while. And so it's very intentional that you're putting side project items in that window to level them up rather than the gear you're actually using. Because if you could level up your currently equipped weapon and you transform it and now it doesn't work anymore, you'd be really stuck. So this forces you to be using a backup item. And that creates strategic choices of whether, which item it is and so on, what you're working on.
It's a little bit different to regular viling and temple corrupting, where people are often taking the chest armor off their character and then disappearing it or something like that. But I guess in this case, the item doesn't really ever disappear. There's not like that sort of outcome here, unless, say, it disappears for your character because the mod is terrible for you.
You can always trade it, right? Like if you find this item, like you're working on something that turns off physical damage and your particular build is a physical damage build, but there might be some elemental version of your build which doesn't care, then you could easily trade that, potentially, if you got a good upside.
Nice. I saw that there was scourging multiple items at once as an option, both the slot for a map and also you can unlock additional slot. Does it take longer if you have more items in there? Like, is the corruption split between them, or is each one its own independent thing and there's no like loss for scourging multiple items at once?
It has no downside, so that's pure the ability to work on multiple projects at once. This is helpful, of course, if you're trying to do a tier 3 Scourge that's going to take a while, or maybe you're trying to like bake a map to like 10 or something like that. Then you get the ability to work on other stuff at the same time.
Awesome. We have a few questions from the community as well on this topic now. So how quick during leveling will transforming happening, like to make sure that the item stays relevant effectively, like it's going to be ready in the next zone or something?
We do care about relevance here. So, I mean, it's an area too, right? Like it depends how much scourging you're doing in various other bits and pieces, but it's not taking you too long. And it's worth noting that if the item is improved, then the punchiness from that is going to certainly outweigh the fact it's a couple of levels under the at most.
The next question is kind of roughly in the area of like timed content and it driving people to certain builds with things like Breach and Legion, or especially like Legion 4-ways and 5-way battles and things like that. Should that be expected with Scourge League? How do you guys consider that when designing a league that has some kind of a pseudo timer?
We have a couple of things here. So the first one is that the team are entirely aware of the fact that this league has a timer, and on a daily basis there were questions of what can we do to potentially remove the timer and change it, and we are very aware of the fact that it changes the dynamics of how the league is played. However, in its current form, and I know there's still a week of development left, which is still a long time as far as our dev goes, there is a timer in the league, and we're pretty comfortable with that. We feel it is actually possible with quite a range of characters, and the interesting thing here is with action RPG design, you implicitly already have a lot of incentives towards clear speed, right? Like, if a person clears 50% faster, then they will make 50% faster progress to whatever goal they're working on, because that affects their experience gain linearly and affects their item acquisition linearly. We don't put delays on stuff so that people aren't, progressing it proportionally to their clear speed. So there are already incentives for clear speed. If you make a character that's terrible at clearing and does really badly in a timer league, you're still going to have a generally terrible experience in that league anyway. So I would encourage players to build characters that do clear the content as efficiently as they can. And I feel that the game is being structured in a way so that players are rewarded for doing more damage, surviving better, and all the various positive things is the right direction for the incentives to go in. So in principle, we understand timers are frustrating for players, but at the same time, they're probably encouraging the right player behavior from the game. And we'd have to put in like anti-incentives in order to properly compensate against it, which we don't think is the right direction for an action RPG.
Sometimes a pretty relevant thing in this topic is whether there's any sort of like cap, because then you run into whether it's like a linear increase up to a point and then it stops, or whether it's like an exponential increase. The good example would be like the Legion battles for really geared out headhunter characters had like exponentially more currency being made than other characters. Is there like the situation here where people who are really fast will just clear all of the Scourge monsters in the map and that's the cap, or is that never going to happen?
It's unlikely to. You don't get to spend too long in Scourge. There's a lot of monsters you don't get the ability to kill, and it is bottlenecked by the amount of blood you can get from the monsters in the main area. But this is our week of playtesting, and we have a variety of people in our QA and alpha teams who play slower characters and play hardcore or solo self-found or various modes. For example, in hard mode, it's very relevant. The speed you kill monsters is, of course, lower because of the power cap there, and so this is something we are playtesting heavily to make sure that it's balanced around it.
Awesome stuff. How does this interact with things like Breach and Beyond, other things that add more monsters to the map? Does that help you gather blood and mean that you can spend a lot more time scourged?
So my understanding is that it does. I'm just going to quickly check with my team to confirm that. They do help you gather blood, so you can speed up your progress by doing additional content.
Cool. Stacks on then. Since you mentioned it, I was going to ask at the end of the Q&A, but you mentioned hard mode. Check. So, what's happening with hard mode, Chris?
So we're planning to release hard mode into testing at some stage after 3.16 is released. It wasn't ready in time, and we're not going to sacrifice a day of 3.16's of Scourge's development for hard mode. And so basically the intention is at some point during 3.16, we'll work out some way that the public can test it, those who are interested, and have a bash at that. I mean, we're keeping the news out of the live stream because it's not relevant at the moment, and it is for a niche group of players, but we'll certainly be communicating heavily once that's ready for people to dive in.
I actually kind of like the idea of it releasing after launch, so people play regular POE for launch and then can jump into hard mode and kind of test alternate POE there. Is that something you've considered just having be the case, like naturally for hard mode?
We have to be careful that we don't want to undermine the importance of the league start, if you see what I mean. Like the league start is a super hype event where the economy matters and people are racing to get the best stuff and discover all the new things. And so if they know that in 2 weeks' time or something, and this isn't 2 weeks, it's more like 6, but if people know that in 2 weeks' time there's some other thing they want to play, then they won't push as hard. They won't try to get the items for their character that they would otherwise choose to get. So in general, I prefer to start everything at the same time. But I don't want to wait to 3.17 to get some testing underway for hard mode, but they just need to view the initial version of what we release as testing, right? Like, have a go, give us some feedback, and then play it properly when it comes out in 3.17.
You've certainly hyped this mode, Chris, so I'm pretty eager to give it a try. See what it's all about, eh?
Its final name probably won't be hard mode, I should add, right? Like everyone's going to get confused when we announce some mode and they're like, is this an addition to hard mode?
That's going to be hard to change the name now. You've said it so many times. Let's move on to a different topic, changing pace a little bit. The new end game. Previously, the initial round of Conquerors were quite straightforward, but then things got a lot more complex as you needed to start targeting specific zones and moving watchstones around, especially if you wanted to be efficient, not accidentally do content that didn't make you any progress and all of that. It was a whole thing. So how does the new 4-region atlas affect the Conqueror cycle now? Is it just like super straightforward the whole way?
So fewer regions means less complexity with where watchstones go. There's fewer options there. This helps with the complexity, but doesn't entirely eliminate it, of course. It's still the system that it was. You get to choose where to put watchstones and when you put them there and which watchstones they are, but you have fewer choices, fewer options there, so it is somewhat simpler. Basically, it generally works exactly the same as before, but with less regions. And it also means there's less variance in the state of your atlas. Like previously with 8 regions, there was a lot of spikes of this place is specialized in this thing or is very high level or whatever. Fewer regions means that on average, things are more similar to each other. There's less juggling of mechanics and stuff, but all the mechanics are still there. So basically, it's the simplification it probably needed. We may have taken it too far with the first version.
This is also an interesting timing for this because next league, effectively, your new endgame, right?
Yeah, next league is the big endgame one, so that should be very interesting. And think of it as an experiment, right? Like, if at the end of the day, people absolutely love the simplified stuff, then we'll look in that direction for the next league. If it has consequences, like let's say people barely played it because there's less to do potentially before you max out your maps. In that case, it's feedback we'll take into account. So yeah, if you want us to think that this was a good change, just play this league a lot, right?
I imagine getting to the Maven passive unlocks and everything like that faster is going to be, on the whole, positive for most people. I know I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, we've been examining philosophically how we want the in-game progress of an action RPG to be, and we believe that having your power gain front-loaded towards the start, and so you're making incremental gain in the diminishing returns part of the end game is probably a lot better. I mean, that's how it works in other action RPGs, right? It gets to the point where the rewards are smaller and smaller and spaced out further and further, and that is probably better than the player having this huge power gain dangled over them, which is just a real pain to actually get to because they want their character to be finished.
Oh, I just got a Twitch drop. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
They do work. Yes. Most of the new Uber tiers of content are gained through a drop like the Blight Ravaged maps. How aware are you guys pitching access to the new aspirational content in which we can test our characters?
Moderately rarely. But we want it so that players who want to engage with that kind of content can access it. And it's designed to be difficult and rewarding, right? Like, we want it to be valuable and hard to get to because of the rewards. They're pretty nuts. And we also want it to be valuable and hard to get to because it's difficult. And that goes back to the old Maelstrom of Chaos lesson that we had, where if you give people unlimited access to any tier of difficulty, they pick the highest one because they see it on Twitch, and then they complain relentlessly that their character that's barely got to maps isn't able to do the highest tier of them. And so we've learned that the more difficult something is, the harder it should be to obtain access to that. Having said that, we're still trying to give these out as often as we can, right? Like, we'll, we'll have conversations where we say for every X of the normal Uber content you do you get some of the next tier of Uber content? And those X numbers are relatively low. It is designed that a person is going to get to it. They're not waiting the whole league to see it. They'll get to play plenty, but it still is going to be something that you have to, potentially trade for with some value.
I guess design-wise, the alternate option is to have someone have to fight their way to a certain tier rather than just skipping it and then complaining they can't do it. Delirium Simulacrum is actually a good example that you guys added 10 new levels. There's nothing to gate access to that, but in order to make it to level 30, you actually have to make it to level 30. So when you guys philosophically want to use that versus making the access rare?
It comes down to a lot to whether on what stage of it is tradable, right? In the case of the Simulacrum, the base thing is tradable, but in order to earn the access to the final waves, you need to, of course, fight your way there. In the case of a Blight Ravaged map, obviously you have to be, succeeding at Blight encounters in order to get those. The problem is that people do succeed at Blight encounters. People typically pitch blighted maps at a level that they believe they can do, otherwise they're wasting resources. And so we do give it to you proportional to your success in those encounters. To an extent, you're fighting your way there, but it isn't guaranteed that finishing a blighted map gives you a blight ravaged map. Instead, it might take more and this is me literally picking a number I haven't seen, but say 10 or something like that. It might be lower.
This one might be a detail you don't know offhand, but where do you gain access to blight ravaged maps? Early level is possible for them to drop, or only high level?
My understanding is it's just higher tiers, but I'm going to be told in a few seconds what tier that is. I'm thinking 14 based on some memory from a past life. Yeah, tier 14 plus.
Nice. Okay, cool. I like that. That's fun. Tier 14 plus blight maps are fun. Delve specific mods can now drop fractured and locked in place, which I love, having recently gone through crafting a Spectre chest. Is that always the case, or can they still drop as non-fractured versions too?
It's very rare for them to drop as fractured ones. I should emphasize, as you've seen, fractured ones are nuts, right? If you can lock on that +1 scepter thing, regardless of what you do with the item, you can have your specters. And so it's very valuable. This is a slim possibility of aspirational rewards you can get from that content. It is not dropping like candy. No one really expected it to be anyway, right?
I actually kind of like that because it means that on the market there'll be cheap Spectre chests that are terrible, like just the Spectre mod, and everything else is complete garbage. And then there will be the ones you can craft that are god tier.
Right. It's like the grasping mail situation. People were doing complicated things with grasping mails in order to get fractured mods on them and so on, and we provided an alternate way to achieve that now. But it still requires a bunch of work. The intention is that fractured mods are, to some extent, kind of the pinnacle of crafting reward because you just get a guaranteed thing that you can plan around, whereas there's so much RNG in the rest of the game. So they're not going to be ever easy to get.
I quite like those rewards, those fractured item drops. Those are exciting, like you said, those aspirational rewards for the high-end content. Speaking of the rewards, there's the Ulnatal's Vow, which is obviously a drop for the Uber Ulnatal. But there is probably not enough uniques in your revealed amount of uniques to be a drop for each of the Uber Breach Lords. So what sort of rewards do they get? Is it planned that they'll get stuff in the future? What's kind of the deal there?
So my understanding is that the Uber areas don't all necessarily have their own new custom rewards. They can, in some cases, give much better chances of existing ones. I'm just checking with the team. So Mark clarifies that the Ulnatal's Vow can drop from each of them. It's not just Ulnatal. To some extent, this is the case of the designers saying, let's put an amulet on the Breach Lords, and someone saying, Ulnatal, he's a Breach Lord, let's give it that name. And it's not really cohesively seeing how it communicates to the players. But yes, all of them may drop his Vow.
Not to critique the unique designers, but why is the Ulnatal amulet purple? That was really confusing because when I was making my video, I was like, wait, I thought that was a Chiuli unique because it was purple.
That's a great question, and this will come up in someone's performance review. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no, what have I done? Oops. There's been a couple of other Scourge questions, just to rewind a little bit, from chat that I thought were pretty good. Can you Scourge other item bases like jewels and flasks and weird stuff like that? Or is it just kind of basic gear?
I believe it's equipable equipment, not flasks, and that includes uniques and maps. Can someone clarify on my team, please?
Yeah, jewels would be the interesting question then, because those are kind of equipable, I guess.
QA team scrambles to make sure it's not jewels and flasks.
Not jewels and flasks, got it. Awesome. There was something else, but I've forgotten it, so maybe we'll come back to it. Back on the passive skill tree this time, can the new passive masteries be changed at will after being allocated?
So they get respec like any other allocated skill because they're allocated like any other allocated skill. It's just that they appear once you've allocated a notable. So you path to the notable, put a point in it, and then you can put a point in the mastery, choose which one it is. And if you want to respec it, you just respec it, then you respec the notable and pull out of the whole cluster if you want to.
Okay, cool. And just to be clear, getting multiple notables in a cluster that have more than one doesn't give more masteries. It's one per
That's correct.
cluster, right?
Yes. The first notable in each cluster will unlock the mastery. And for clarity here, I hope it was obvious from the explanation in the video, but Fire Mastery, for example, has a bunch of options. You can get many of those options by just allocating multiple clusters and pick a notable in each one.
Awesome, awesome. I really love this system. Super excited about playing with it. If you anoint a notable, then especially relevant because you guys revealed an amulet that lets you anoint 4 anointed notables. Does that give you a mastery point as well?
No, you must actually physically allocate a notable on the tree to unlock the mastery that's near it.
Damn. Thought I got you with that one. Does this new system make it easy to expand and change the tree more in the future now as well?
Well, there's a few consequences. It means that we don't have to worry about where we scroll away niche stats. Like previously, if there's something we wanted to add to the tree, we'd have to pick a place for it. And that means that all the builds that want that now have to involve that place, which takes away from what they're currently doing. It also gives us these lists we can put stuff on, right? Like, a plausible content update in the future could be that we've added a thing to every mastery and find a new cool thing for it to do. And that's an easy place for us to put stuff that doesn't really disrupt builds and so on. Because one thing we've learned with Path of Exile is people want options for making their builds different with each league, but they don't necessarily want everything they've learned to be thrown in the garbage, right? If the build guides are entirely outdated and it's a fresh start of learning the game again, there's people who are like, I'll skip this one, I'll wait for a build guide next time. And so having everything feel familiar is actually very important. And that's why with the tree update here, it's still really the same tree. We spaced it out, gave it a cosmetic coat of paint, put some masteries in there and powered up the non-mastery passives a bit, but stuff's broadly in the same place as it was before. And that means players will be able to come in and do basically the same build as before, they just have a lot more flexibility and the second version of their character might be more powerful.
It looks and feels just from seeing it really different though. Like not like you said in terms of layout, but this seems like a pretty big fundamental change to our character building process now. This mastery system opens up a lot more flexibility over where we go and things like that now too.
That's correct.
We got a lot of questions from chat on this topic. Seems like people are pretty curious about it. How will Timeless Jewels affect passive tree masteries? So do Timeless Jewels affect masteries at all?
They do not. Yep, my teams say that Timeless Jewels do not affect passive masteries, just the notable.
Okay. Is this kind of a buff for Timeless Jewels then? Because previously you might have been losing, if you're, say, using a Vile Timeless Jewel, losing an effect that was on a notable, but now that effect is on the mastery tree and you can still get it.
Because we've moved the interesting effects to masteries, then yes, the notables are just more punchy in terms of regular stuff, which have now been re-rolled, of course, and you'll get the ability to allocate the mastery still.
Awesome. A little bit of a buff there, it seems.
It's worth noting as well, with the spreading out of the tree that we've done, we've adjusted radiuses of all the relevant jewels and so on, so that it's obviously not a nerf to those.
Someone's curious about the, is there like a hue or color change on the passive tree overall, or is this just a stylistic stuff for the video?
We have revamped the art of the passive tree and added new effects and textures and so on, because the previous one was getting, older than many of our staff's children.
Oh my. What's the passive point budget like now? It seems like you need to use a passive point to get the small bonuses as well. Is it going to be worth it? That's kind of summary of the question.
We have buffed the things we took small bonuses off. So previously we allocate a notable and get a certain amount of stuff. You're still getting that much value from the notable. It's just that the main thing it's granting you is now bigger than before. And whether or not the small bonus is worth a point, I think it's pretty clear from our testing that people want all the small bonuses they can get, like they're like a bloodhound for those things. So yeah, there's more choice of what you can spend your points on that are impactful, and that may mean that you have difficult choices of what to pick and you want to play multiple characters or could play this character multiple ways, or you'll do the side quests for skill points now, or whatever it is. But no, we haven't increased the budget for passive points.
What's the decision about the in-game tree planner that's been kind of tested / talked about in the past?
We haven't included it yet. It could be done. It's kind of working. It's just kind of bad. Like it needs some work, right? Like, it's I'm not happy with it. We have quality standards, right? We'll get it out there. Here's the thing, right? Like we made it for the Chinese version, and they've got all this cool stuff it integrates with. Like they've got this thing where when you kill Hillock, it goes, right, here are 3 suggested builds you could pick. Do you want to play this one or this one or this one? And it kind of guides you through that. Now, that was mostly because it was a new service for them and the players needed to learn how to play. Like our players would not benefit really from being handheld through those builds. And there's a lot of good resources of build guides and so on. So with the tree planner there, when you've selected a build, it gives you the ghost imprint of that build on the tree so that you kind of know where you're going. Now, we wouldn't have that functionality here unless we had some kind of thing. And I've got this dream here, this is me ranting now, where build guides on the website are consolidated in a better place. And when you put a build guide together, you have the ability to like choose all the bits and pieces with the user interface, but it includes snapshotting the tree at different levels. So you'd say like, here's the order you allocate the stuff. And then when someone imports your build guide from the forum into their character that they're playing online, it shows the ghost of the tree using the planner there and all of this kind of fancy stuff. Like you look at the quest reward window and it highlights the quest rewards that are relevant to the build guide that you've selected for your character, blah, 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 blah.
Sick.
That would be nice. However, because we have this grand idea of doing that one day, we haven't just turned on the thing we made a while ago. I like the way that the developers who would have to implement this are sending me messages now.
No, stop.
Yeah. That's just me thinking of cool things we could do, which, you know, we have plenty of cool things. But that's the reason why we haven't turned on the passive planner.
Got it. Yeah, it's like you've painted a picture and we're all like, oh, it's really cool. We think it's cool. We're going to put it up in our living room. You're like, I think I can do a much better picture. All right, then. Let's move on to skills. Does Temporal Rift with Cast on Death work to save your character?
Sorry, could you repeat that? I was distracted by people freaking out.
So as soon as we saw Temporal Rift, it's like Cast on Death. It rewinds time. Does it work?
Okay, we've got a clarification from the team. It's a reservation effect, so it cannot be triggered.
Yeah. Shredded. Awesome. So the new Link supports cause both Link characters to die when one does. And they can be upgraded via passive masteries to allow linking minions. If minions die, does that also kill the linked host?
So to clarify, it doesn't cause both people to die when one does. It causes the caster of the link to die when the target dies. So you want to help your friend. If he dies, that screws you over. You can't help him and then kill yourself, right? Like, you know, it's not used for griefing. So I understand that's 20% of our community that were very excited, especially in hardcore. But no, you're opting into having your character exposed by using links. Anyway, the minion question. Yes, if your minion dies, then you also die. But that's why it's not a default behavior, because otherwise someone's going to misclick and target a minion, and then the minion dies, because they like to die, serving their master and all. So yeah, you have to specifically choose to opt in to being able to target minions, and then it's your responsibility what you click on.
I can't wait until someone accidentally targets a skeleton in hardcore instead of the zombie or whatever they were trying to target. I guess that also prevents the fact that it only is one-way mutual killing. It prevents a situation where one person dying in the party wipes out the entire 6-man party due to a chain reaction of death.
Yeah, it'll just be that when someone dies in the party, the support character gets killed as well, and you know that's how it works now.
That's much more reasonable, but at the same time, it would have been kind of hilarious to see. Yep. All right. That answers my next question then. Oh my, these are some complex questions here. Okay, I'm just going to skip those.
Okay, they clarify that everyone can link to everyone else for mutual destruction, which can happen. Like, it's basically this ultra blood pact.
Okay, so you can link to someone, they can link back to you, and then you'll have mutual destruction.
Imagine you play group found, and your goal is to link to everyone in a giant grid, so that if one party member dies, the whole party's wiped out and the hardcore run ends.
That's actually hilarious and makes for, I think, a fun like challenge mode to play with your friends or something.
That'd be kind of cool, actually.
Everyone links to everyone else. Although it sounds like they drain mana as well, so that probably would be kind of challenging for a lot of builds, I imagine.
But people like challenge, right? Like that makes an interesting stream to do a run through like that.
I like it. Yeah, absolutely. So with the rebalance of curse and aura stacking, but the introduction of powerful but active and limited support skills like these new link skills, where do you guys hope to see support characters in terms of power? What's the end goal there?
Well, the new reality with linked skills, it's far less exponential than it was before. Like previously, a single support character really ramped up an entire party. Having said that, it's still a big boost in power. Like if you're playing in a party one of your party members using link skills will definitely benefit what you're doing. They'll contribute far more than, a fourth character cycloning or whatever's going on with your friend group. You also get to best choose who benefits from each type of link, right? Like, it's far more interesting than jamming all the auras on and running into the middle. You're specifically saying, I want to protect you and trigger spells from your location and so on. And it's worth noting we have 3 more link skills that are ready to go that we haven't revealed yet because teasers.
Based on the recent manifestos, people have been calculating the damage over time builds and coming up with lower damage numbers when they factor in the changes to elemental equilibrium or loss, as well as overload. Was this the intention for these builds to effectively be nerfed, or is there more damage now to be picked up elsewhere that hasn't been revealed yet?
You can get additional damage on the passive tree, the masteries, and items.
So where do you guys kind of pitch the math then? I have to imagine you've run the calculations that builds are going to be roughly the same, a bit higher, a bit lower.
Ideally similar to what it was before. One of the problems with damage over time stuff was there was just fewer ways of scaling it compared to some other options. So they've made sure there are actually like new item mods you can specialize in. There are obviously, passives and masteries you can pick. It won't be as high as before if you ignore that stuff. Obviously, you do need to specialize in what your character is doing for it to do that thing well, but at least it means that it's more fair compared to other things.
It kind of raises the question then, especially with gear. When is it appropriate to increase the reliance on gear to balance a build?
We feel that's appropriate when we had some things to the game like Caustic Arrow a very long time ago where there just weren't support gems that really worked with it. It's just Caustic Arrow, it just does damage. And everyone else has to use support gems. And that's the kind of case there where we see something like that. And to some extent, damage over time was a bit like it, where it isn't as supportable as the rest of the game. And that's the case where we feel it can go on gear. So those people have an option to actually invest in doing what they should be doing.
Okay. All right. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out then. I've got a couple questions from chat. Can you explain in more details how the evasion changes will work and how the entropy system will now feel?
So the goal with the evasion changes is that evasion as a core thing is more punchy than before. With regard to entropy, entropy is your friend. Entropy smooths it out so that you don't get 2 hit, right? Getting 2 hit is the problem. No one really ever gets 1 hit, right? They do have enough survivability. The problem is quick successive damage. And so previously, before entropy existed, you'd unluckily get hit, fair enough, you can deal it, then you die, because the second one comes in. With the new one, entropy guarantees that will be spaced out. And so that helps evasion characters a lot. Whenever we see people asking for entropy to be removed, we wonder what's going on there, because this is a de-RNGing thing that smooths things out substantially and it substantially reduces the chance you're going to have the second hit come in to kill you before you get a chance to react to the first and heal yourself. With the evasion changes, though, characters using evasion by actually just putting evasion pieces on will have a lot better time than they previously did. We understand a few characters were stacking dodge to combine with it. This was too powerful, and people said to us, we want Path of Exile's defenses to be sorted out. And we evaluated it, and we saw that the vast majority of players were really struggling to get the defenses they needed. And some players were totally fine with various niche bits and pieces, like, using dodge, stacking with evasion, and having blind at the same time. And so in order to make it so that all the defensive options were good, we had to look at the outliers and sort them out. Because if we kept those working exactly how they did before and increased everything else, we'd have some immortal characters and everyone would have to play that. And so we've tried to improve it for 85% of players, and the few percent that were using things that were slightly above the curve had no major survivability problems before. So yeah, it sucks to describe any form of nerf, but this is intended to be an expansion almost entirely full of buffs, and we do believe that situation is better for almost everyone than it was in the past.
It's worth noting, I guess, now that acrobatics has changed, block is more of an option for evasion builds too, because there's not that block penalty anymore to contend with. Which
we believe once people try building their characters around the new defensive stuff, they'll have a great time. Like, it's easy to look at how the character was built before and say, I am hurt in some manner because it's my old thing, which is now the wrong shape for the whole, is incorrect. But when you actually look at the shape of the whole and build something right for it, it's quite defensive.
Got it. Does the new tornado ability gain speed on projectile bonuses or anything like that?
My understanding is that hitting it with projectiles will cause it to deal extra damage based on how much damage you dealt with those projectiles of that damage type. Rory clarifies it gains speed as it levels, so you do get benefits there, and of course you can support it and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah, I think basically the question is because like it looks awesome, but it's like maybe a bit too slow, is what people are noting from the video, which is the same thing I felt when I first saw it as well. Seems
Yeah,
like
they say it starts slow, so you can hit it before speeding up when you first cast.
Okay. Seems like it might be more of a boss killer in that regard then, rather than a clearing skill. Can you specify what things can get reverted in time? For example, souls from VAR skills, combat buffs, skill cooldowns, or is it just HP and mana?
It's HP, mana, energy shield, and player position. It is very interesting to consider adding more to that list. There will be people crying at the very thought of that because it has implications to revert other things like charges and souls and so on. However, it's something we could look into in the future. It'll certainly enable some interesting builds. Probably dumb, broken ones, but that's kind of why we're here.
Chat's calling out ward. I assume it also includes ward, as that's a core defense.
That's a great question. Chris
Other
looks
people in
disappointed.
call. Hint, hint. Other people listening in.
Someone adds ward to a function call in the code.
Just chat.
Yeah, we'll deal with that if it needs dealing with.
It's all right.
And if it doesn't, there'll be a reason.
Cool. On guilds, does the guild hideout map device serve one party at a time or multiple parties somehow?
So you can see your portals and your party's portals. The way it works is if you have a party leader with portals, then you'll see those. And if the party doesn't have any portals, you'll see your own ones. And you can also promote people in your party to become the leader if the leader was the wrong person. So there's been a bunch of work put into that. We've also got various changes behind the scenes to how portals are managed, so you're less likely to lose them. And, there's a bunch of work that's gone into improving this stuff. But basically, the goal here is that you can sit in your guild hideout forever. And aside from trading with randoms, you can do anything you would normally do in your own hideout. Obviously, you can't just invite strangers into your guild hideout because there could be super secret guild stuff being discussed or having a party or something. But aside from trading with randoms, you have to go to their hideout to do that. You can use your guild's hideout as your own personal hideout, practically speaking.
I'm super impressed with the portals working based on parties, so multiple people can use the same map device. I did not expect that at all. Since you brought up the trading thing, though, it really raises the question once again about whether you guys are still considering cross-instance trading.
At this stage, we're not going to change the trading system to allow cross-instance trading. It's a major re-architecture, and I don't think it's worth it.
All right, fair enough. Will there be additional guild slots available now that people will want to join guilds?
It's kind of funny because when we looked into guild slots, the conclusion we have is we will not reduce them at this stage. Now that may seem like a counter argument, but the thing is, when you join Path of Exile, it tells you the status of all of your guild members and all of your friends, and various information gets sent around. And when you've got a maxed out guild and a maxed out friends list and all of this kind of stuff, there's a lot of data. Like whichever router that's going through kind of groans at the 8 kilobytes of data in that one packet, basically, and things get unhappy. When we do simulation of heavily guilded, heavily friended users all being incredibly active, because of course most users aren't, but when we do the simulation, the realm has poor stability. And so we believe that this will be fine at current settings, but the reason why we kept it and the reason why we're not improving it is because things get exponentially worse, especially given the more people will be in guilds now after these changes. So we're going to obviously try to improve this, like we want bigger guilds and so on, but it's not going to be quite the same as other games where you just make the biggest guild in the entire world that has half the server on it. Like, I get that streamers have huge communities and so on, and they kind of can't be guilded here. It's more for groups of close friends. And we're still allowing hundreds of people in guilds, I believe. What is the cap?
What is the cap now?
I don't know. Whatever it is, it's probably not changing for a little while. But ideally, we'd like to. It's just that we're very aware of the fact that, this is the kind of thing that causes problems on launch day. So we'll try to avoid problems on launch day this time around.
Will people be able to contribute points to the guild leader to get upgrades for hideouts and stash tabs?
Yeah, it's exactly the same system that's been there for a long time. Basically, you can give points to the guild and it can spend those. So previously, it had the ability to buy slots and regular stash tabs. Now it has the ability to buy hideouts, the microtransaction versions of decorations if you want any, and all the new types of stash tabs.
See, I didn't even know that was an option because it's barely touching the guild system before. It actually seems really appealing now, so well done.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like previously, it was just so sad that the guilds didn't support the nice stash tabs, right? Because you had some boring storage and you couldn't control click and control out, and when server stability issues were happening, you lose items, and a lot of that stuff's a lot better now.
Awesome. Can we have an option to load into our hideout or guild hideout instead of town now?
Probably not. We still like the idea of you actually going into a central part of Raycast. I mean, people cynically say it so that we can sell microtransactions. And I get if you've got a guild hideout, then, maybe you can see the microtransactions for your friends and stuff. But for the time being, we'd like it so people continue to load into towns.
All right. Can we enter guild hideouts if we play solo self-found? Are the guild hideouts cross-league?
I am completely blanking. I don't know. Whatever the current... I'm going to check in on that to make sure it's done correctly.
We can come back to that in a second then. These are some more questions from chat.
There's a clarification from one of our devs. In a party, the guild map device will show your party leader's portals, but not your own. So if there are party leaders' portals, then you'll see those, but you won't see your own ones if you're in a guild.
I don't understand. Okay, I'm sure other people do.
It's been well thought out and well tested. It should be fine. And if there's problems with it, just let us know.
I trust you.
That's how I feel about this feature. It's complicated.
Okay. Question mark. When will the guild stash tabs get added? Can you add them early so that we can set them up before League starts? Someone asks.
We do have to add them at League launch, and that's because we did an insane amount of re-engineering to make this guild stash stuff work better. Like, the control clicking stuff was a real pain, but that's in there now.
All right. Is there a maximum number of players allowed in the guild hideout, and will it lag with too many? I'm guessing that's just the cap of the actual guild.
Yeah, my understanding is that it caps at something like 24, if someone can clarify. Maybe there's a hard cap at 32 and a soft cap at 24 like towns, but you can get multiple instances of the guild hideout, I believe. 32 per shard, and I'm pretty sure you get multiple copies of it. Now, this does mean that if you were going to potentially want to have a 200-person guild meeting, you kind of have to do that over Discord or something, and you're kind of all in different versions of the hideout, and you can pretend that you're seeing your guild leader talk. But practically speaking, you'll be around guild members in your hideout whenever you're there, and it's very rare for a guild to have 32 people concurrently in their hideout at the same time during regular gameplay. Like, it's going to be one shard unless you're having some crazy meeting, and then there's people everywhere anyway. Plus, imagine 32 players decked out of microtransactions and stuff. It's going to have some memory requirements and affect performance if it's higher than that. And, the same reason we didn't turn microtransactions on in Royale.
Are there any, we're moving into some kind of miscellaneous mixed questions now, so hold on to your hats. Are there any changes coming for Harvest?
Got some minor stuff. I mean, not what players want, but we're nerfing Blister Lords, though that's not in the patch notes because it's not done yet. So we're intending to nerf Blister Lords if we remember by next weekend. And we're combining the Alch and Chaos recipes together. So the ones that will either Alch an item and do an effect or Chaos it are just going to be the same thing now. Nice and versatile.
Nice. That's a good change. What's happening with Royale? You mentioned the Twitch Rivals, but for the regular Royale running, any plans?
So Royale was a lot of fun for a lot of people, and that lot of people tailed off quite a lot throughout the league. And then you start to get the matchmaking problem where you have... takes like 50 people to trigger a game. So you have 50 people interested in playing, but not quite at the same time, so you don't get a game trigger, and then when the game's not triggering, they don't bother coming back because the games aren't triggering, and so you've got enough population that you could get games triggering if everyone read each other's minds and when to play right now, but they're not in there at exactly the same time. And so it was hard for games to trigger in the latter half of the league. And I mean, I appreciate that this is probably because people would happily be playing the main game and enjoying whatever they're doing in Expedition rather than wanting to play Royale at that exact moment. But it does mean that we would be better off using Royale as a special event where they're slightly more interested in playing it. Like if we say, hey guys, it's been a while, we're going to be running Royale this weekend or something like that, then there'll be slightly higher interest. And that means games will trigger, and that means it's worth playing, and so on and so on. Now, long term, it may be worth some kind of queuing system where you can be in a map and expressing interest if I want to join the next Royale game. And merely anything like that would immediately cause there to be enough players that we'd never have problems having games trigger. But for the time being, the intention is to have Royale available as special events. It does take a fair amount of development work to make changes to it. We, as you see, have been quite busy putting stuff in the real game, and we feel that's a good place to improve. So yeah, Royale's probably not going to be enabled on a weekendly basis for a while, but we are running this cool Twitch event with the secret boss spawn stuff that should be interesting, and we'll bring it back for special events in the future.
I love Royale, I love playing it, I love casting it, but I did run into the same issue where even getting my community behind it, took 20 minutes to get games started. So I have to concur that the idea of running it at specific times so that everyone's concentrated their focus on that time so that games happen quickly seems like the best approach there. A major campaign rebalance was started with Act 1 last expansion, but not mentioned this time. What's happening with that?
So we had too much homework, so we didn't get time to work on that. Basically, the community gave us a lot of bits and pieces to work on, so we worked on those, and we'll continue with the rebalance later. And it's worth noting that basically what we're doing is getting the monsters to a normalized level of challenge and making sure they have good abilities and that kind of stuff. So it isn't meant to be making the game dramatically harder, just making it more consistent in terms of difficulty. And so the intention is to carry on with Acts 2 through 7 when we get time later.
That's getting really cranky at me because I'm not asking the questions in the order that they want me to ask me. Look, I have that on my question list already. You guys, calm down. Just wait a second, okay? But I'll tell you what, I'll ask it now. People want to know about Ultimatum. Is there any news?
No news at this stage.
There you go, Chatty. Happy? Okay, very good.
You liked that one then.
Destroyed. Will my map device unlocks be available via the guild hideout?
My understanding is that they will be, but I'm going to wait for people to clarify that. The team are wanting me to spoil that we're intending to bring Ultimatum back to core in 3.17, but I don't know if I want to spoil that, right? We maybe leave that one as a surprise.
I mean, yeah, don't spoil that. Don't mention it. Probably best not to mention it. So people would like to know if the South African servers will be staying because they've been having a great time playing on the test server.
Oh, that's really good to hear. Well, we don't like to turn stuff off arbitrarily, so if it's going well, I'll check with the technical team and have a chat with them. It's kind of sad that the meme dives left us so long, right? Like it's been, the monthly emails about South African servers are finally over, and I just feel like it's the end of an era, right? Like, my 30s was the period of people complaining about South African servers.
You break your life down in that.
Bex is telling me to behave. Okay, so Reese clarifies that map device crafts you have unlocked can be used at the guild map device, but they are not shared.
All right, Bex has given me the 5 minutes, so let's go quick. Any updates on colorblind support for sockets?
So we have 2 new socket options available. We have small notches, which is smaller than the ones that we demoed in the community post, and we have large patterns. And so you can, by default, you do not see these, because that way, while the non-colorblind users were not complaining about having notches, we decided that we may as well give them, no change if they don't want to change. So by default, no change, and you can turn on small notches for people who just want a hint as to which socket it is, or large patterns for people who want to, at a glance, be able to see easily which one it is. And I should note, there's this bike shedding feedback with the small notches one, where the blue one has a notch pointing upwards, and that's covered by the link. And everyone who sees it says, you don't realize that you can't see the notch if there's a link going upwards. And it's just the most common thing, as though we haven't thought of that. But we also all notice that, but it doesn't matter, because if there's no notch going left or right, then the notch has to be going up. So those are, anyway. So that was great. But we have these socket colorblind options available, and as we experiment with further colorblindness stuff in the future, we'll put it in those options.
All right, rapid firing. How mobility creep been addressed in builds? Skills that cause you to be rigid in place. I've always felt worse to use than mobile skills or skills with very low action time, due to the nature of needing to stay on the move while fighting monsters.
So what's the question here? Sorry.
I'm a little confused as well, but it sounds like any thoughts on mobility?
We're dropping the patch notes in a few minutes, so if there are changes there that I'm unaware of, you'll see them in the patch notes, but I don't think it's specifically addressed. We've tried very hard to talk about most of the balance changes and improvements we're making in advance this time. Alpha's just been enabled for the alpha testers, so enjoy that.
Very timely.
People will be playing Scourge in 5 minutes.
Ziggy, please show console some love. I'm not a developer. And ask, when will console get bind to move key functionality?
I'll make sure that the console team is aware of that request.
All right, very good. How does Elemental Overload work with VAR skills? That's a good question.
Right, I need my team to answer that one, unfortunately. It's not something I know.
Yeah, whether they're counted as a different skill or not might affect their use with Elemental Overload. Any POE 2 news, just quickly?
We have nothing more to share on Path of Exile 2. We're waiting until we've got a big, impactful pile of stuff. Probably next year is the next time we'll share a big pile of POE 2 stuff, but things are looking real good. Okay,
Awesome.
so Rory clarifies that it does count as a different skill, yes.
Okay, so it won't gain the damage buff from Elemental Overload then. Worth considering. Oof. Okay, there's like a bunch of questions about, is it a telescope behind you, Chris? What is
That
it?
is, it's for astrophotography. And sadly,
Awesome.
I've been so busy with Path of Exile this year that I haven't used it once, right? So I'm one of those people that buys a thing, puts it in the background, and then never touches it. So I'm not an astrophotographer, but I will be as soon as things calm down.
Well, maybe you can use it today now that we've gotten some things sorted out. Although, maybe wait until the nighttime, I imagine. Thank you
True.
very much for your time, Chris.
Right. Thanks,
And
man. I appreciate it. And everyone have a great time in Scourge. It's going to be a good one.
see you all later.
Thanks.
Looks like that's it, and aside from that, post thoughts, that's definitely an idea. I'm also interested and curious about, supposedly they were saying that there's also going to be, what was it? Leave that there. Dude, the Path of Exile website is like, there we go. I was say it's fucking like broken or something. Oh, there's the new supporter packs.
Warframe supporter packs?
Oh yeah. Alright, so those are the new Warframe supporter packs. 7 days, 22 hours. Thought they were talking about that they would have the new updates already, but let's see what these things look like, huh? Alright. Wait, so you get a... Oh, this is just the... Okay, so you get that. And then, I guess you get, like... What's it? What is that? A fucking... Interesting. Alright. Oh, so now they... Before they would limit your $50 or whatever. And Dread. Now you can be Virgil. Fucking... Spiral swords. Oh, those are the expeditions. Okay, so yeah. Scourge. Yeah, so you both get that, and you get the back attachment. But then this one you get a pet. And that thing in the back there. Interesting. Okay, so nothing yet. But alright, guys. You getting both move? Nice, nice. So there we go. Alright, guys. Post thoughts time.
Wait.
What's that?
You sure you getting both? Or you getting that gold membership in DF2?
Oh shit, see? Now he's gonna get all of it. He's been working hard. He's a hard working lad.
Check W.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, he's getting it all. I like it. Dig it. Big baller. It's interesting that this thing, like, the swords are pointing towards me. I feel like I would be like Caesar, Julius Caesar, and that's like the Senate. Still cool, though. Still cool. I can dig it. Huh. It's wings, right? Yeah, Apparition Portal. And this is a Apparition Portal. Okay. So they're doing a lot of these portal ones, so that's pretty cool. Pretty nice to see. But, how should I start?
Alright, now.
Alright. Angelo here. Welcome to my channel, and welcome back to Here's My Stream. So, guys, we just finished watching the live stream for Path of Exile. And, whoa, Jesus. Okay. The fucking damn thing crashed again.
Hey man, people are trying to look at the patch notes and stuff.
I know. Look at that. Everyone wants to see the damn patch
Mass
notes.
F5.
Gigantic F5
And
and
then they're gonna start going in the path of building and be like theory crafting their next build.
pretty much. Well, I was trying to get that, but goddamn. All right. So anyway, guys, let's go with this one.
They
What are your
it
thoughts?
moved from fandom. You're at the wrong one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's another one that's
Oh,
like
shit.
with updated. You have to look for it.
I'll have to look for it then. Yeah, this is the one I've been using.
Yeah, fandom is not it anymore.
Well, shit. All right. That's worked out for me for the most part. But cool. All right. But in the meanwhile, Mono, what'd you think about the overall?
You know what? He kind of jacked me up because he hinted at ultimatum next league after Scourge. So, dude, what if that's the Maven? The Maven of 3.17?
Who's that? The Trial
The
Master?
Trial Master. What if he's the new end game?
Could be.
I ain't got no problem with that.
I mean,
All
he-
right,
he
all right.
originally was there though.
So
but
the thing about this league I thought was really cool was being able to craft uncorrupted items without using 50 billion Veil Orbs.
that's good.
So although it's not just for Scourge, it said all corrupted items, right?
I believe it. Well, because now it's basically corrupted Chrono, and corrupted Jeweler, and a corrupted Fusings.
I got no problem with that.
So
That's
basically,
sick.
yeah. Now you just need to get another. Excuse me, another set of currency for that. So hopefully they'll expand it. But again, you can only get it from Scourge monsters. So if that's the case, I'm pretty sure that's gonna be. It's got to go core. It has to go core this time.
And then obviously the new microtransactions, those got to be the best microtransactions ever. Like they look like some Warframe, some Shin Megami Tensei shit going on. I don't know, some Event Horizon shit going on. Whatever you want to call it. Them new cosmetics are sick. Then you got that energy shield weapon thing.
Yeah. What was it? It's like a physical weapon, right?
Yeah. Then you have like upgraded Blight, upgraded Breach.
All right, there. The website just loaded again. Finally,
Nah, no new patch notes.
but no new patch notes.
I think
yet.
they're trying. Are they trying to get it
Maybe
up
it's
as
on the
soon as
forums.
possible?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I
don't
thought they
know.
said it was going to be up immediately, but
I mean, they're trying.
that was the full
And then
details.
that amulet, that unique amulet, that gives your weapon a 7th slot, and then that belt that gives you the uptime on your non-mage flasks.
That thing was cool. That's basically like a Headhunter 2.0 in my opinion.
One for bosses to swap out with your
I
headhunter.
guess there it is. Jesus. Okay. And here it is. Oh, all right.
This is gonna be another fucking video,
This is
dude.
definitely going to be another video, but Jesus, there's a lot of stuff.
And you're gonna be doing the editing tomorrow.
Yeah,
Because after you read through all that, you're hella gonna have to go to sleep.
pretty much,
But
yeah.
yeah, what did you like about it? I mean, mine's kind of minimal because the second he said like ultimatum is coming back, I everything, yeah, I lost it.
I mean, for me, like, I don't know, like, I was watching it. Maybe it's also because I'm kind of getting this thing set up here as well. I was also wondering just, like, maybe I was expecting more. Because they didn't show any of the bosses, although they did say there are bosses. But at the same time, I want to know a little more about the defenses, but I guess that's what these things are for.
So yeah, you're gonna find it in the patch notes about
Yeah.
the defenses.
And it looks like, yeah, they're overall, like, just adding so many more things. Trap enhancement.
Oh, Tarke Cat.
Huh? What?
Tarke Cat with the trap build.
Oh, okay, there you go. And triggered marks, 2 tornado skills, like, operative specters. Yeah, so, like, I
So-
see a lot of stuff, but I
So
don't know.
was the reveal underwhelming to you?
I don't know if it was. I mean, again, to me, I felt it was more of like a quality of life patch, if anything, than
I
that.
think you're just triggered because the Scourge thing looks like Event Horizon. That one scene that you flash to for a few seconds.
I mean, maybe. I mean, could be, but I don't know. It's
I don't know, the
interesting, but
monsters look kind of like Event Horizon too.
yeah, that is true. That is true. And then I like the fact that he said he'll have more on POE 2 next year. That's good. The thing I also liked when he was talking about, but I'm also missing that I wanted to see Act 2 redone. But they just ran out of stuff, so by them having to adjust the atlas and all that other stuff, they had to switch it up. So that's another thing that I could be a little sad about, but I don't know, like in comparison to like last league where I got to see new characters, like maybe it's because there was also no new real character. I mean, I guess there's that one character that's scare that gives you the Scourge icon or
Well, I mean,
whatever.
there's a new monsters, aren't they?
I think so. Yeah, they're all new, but and I guess maybe less is more. And I'm still kind of wondering, what is it exactly?
Well, you're forgetting about the new, the upgraded blight, the upgraded breach.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you
and
have all those.
so technically,
A reworked
but
atlas.
but you got to remember this too. All that shit is for the uber aspirational content. I'm barely getting to just the end game content. And now there's even a step further where it's even harder content, and that is what kind of puts me at like, shit, you know. I'm still making my own build, so
Then
I'm
you
not.
still got hard mode coming up.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I definitely. But now I guess hard mode's not going to be in until about 6 months. But it's not even going to be the full hard mode. It's just going to be a test because he wants to test it before 3.17. So
I mean, they're focusing on the main league. So
and I give him that. I'll definitely give him that because if they were just kind of release both, then I would have to make the choice. It's like, oh shit, am I doing hard mode or am I doing the regular league?
Yeah.
Now I'm glad that they kind of took that choice away from me and just said, just do the regular league, man. It's like, okay, fine, I'll do the regular league. But
oh, the energy shield thing with your ranger. Oh, because you wanted to do the melee with it, right?
no melee or something. Like I still don't know what I'm gonna
there
do.
you go, and you could get the mass energies. You can go a mass energy shield.
Well,
build.
the problem is that I would have to like use it off of gear. But I was also I was tempted on doing the. But I guess it's a new thing. Maybe I'm gonna have to try because now evasions. Like I was gonna try and figure out what evasion is, but we'll see. I don't know. Like there's options.
All the little swords flying around.
That's true. Dual weapons. I don't know. Like I said, now
You change your
I
name
need
to
to see.
Nello Angelo.
Yeah, but
Look
but,
at
but if
that.
I'm playing as a ranger, right? Or I don't know who I'm playing as.
Just gonna be the blue swords everywhere. And,
That's true. Is that what that is? Spectral throw?
I forgot what it was called. But
Is that what that is? Move? Just spectral throw? Because it's not shield throw, obviously. That's Captain America's.
no,
stuff.
I'm talking about the new one.
Oh,
That new
is
skill.
that a new
yeah,
skill?
it uses your energy shield, and it gets stronger.
With more of the higher
Yeah,
your
the
energy.
higher your energy
What I
shield
want to
is.
know is whatever the fuck it was that gave them that like full powerful energy shield. I was like, dude, what is that? I want that. Like that's a lot of energy shield. Like my guy had energy shield, but that was like a lot. That's like
Oh,
that felt like 10,000
That
energy
looks
shield.
so cool with the. Yeah, I mean those are pretty much my highlights. Yeah, the energy sword thing, whatever.
Yeah, we don't even know what it's called, but yeah, I don't know. To me, like in a way, again, maybe I was just looking for more. Maybe I was looking for a new character, a new NPC that's gonna talk to you, new bosses similar to like this chick. But
New world.
let's be real, that everyone already beat that game, and I don't think there's anything.
I mean, you were
new
just saying
about it.
new so much. I had to throw that in there.
Yeah, possibly, but all right, guys. Well, that's just kind of us rambling on what we thought. But again, mono is what hit or miss.
Microtransactions, the blue sword thing, the crafting uncorrupted items,
That's mono's things for me.
the hardcore blight maps, the hardcore breach. I mean, I know it's probably not called hardcore, but I mean, those are sick. The reworked atlas,
Let's just call it Uber.
and
just
then
Uber.
freaking trial masters coming back 3.17.
Oh shit. For me, I think it's definitely that Atlas passive, or the no. Well, I guess Atlas passives too, but no, the passive skill tree.
Oh, expedition is core. Expedition is core.
Expedition is core. So I do
and,
like that.
and removes Parandus.
Oh yeah,
and-
Parandus, bye bye, buddy.
And it's on your what's that thing called? The Maven favors.
Oh yeah, it actually has all the new Atlas things for expedition, and I'm gonna like that because like, dude, I'm not gonna lie, the 8 fucking areas were pretty rough for me. I didn't really like that.
And you know what to call back to the goals video? I'm definite expedition in the freaking Atlas. I'm definitely doing that. Like, I don't care about any other content. The Scourge and the Expedition.
Yep,
For
and
sure.
That's the solid ones right
Yeah,
there.
I'm gonna be taking all those nodes on the Maven favors.
So there we go, guys. That's what our immediate thoughts. What we breaking it down while we were watching it, and just kind of recapping it now. But to me, again, maybe because I'm not in there yet, but when I get in there, and also I just don't like the timer mechanics. Maybe that's just me.
Is that right?
But
You know what? The whole reveal sums up for me is one thing. You know when the trial master said to you after you lost like 60 trials or whatever?
oh yeah, he's happy.
I
for
just
me,
want to say
genuinely.
congratulations, Grinding Gear. I really mean it. I really mean it.
Yeah, there we go. So let us know in the comments below what you guys thought. Again, step in the right direction. I'm calling this the quality of life league / patch. And I am definitely looking forward, one, to hard mode, just to try it out maybe middle or near the end of the league. But I also want to know how gigantic and enormous is 3.17 going to be. I think it's going to be fuck huge. So thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you guys out there. Anything else from you, Mono?
Congratulations, Grinding Gear. I really mean it.
Nice. Later, y'all. Well, no, I think because this is in October, so it's going to be November, December, so like January is when we're going to get the next update, which is 3.17. So,
And it's Halloween League.
oh, the Halloween
So
League.
it's like you're going into a haunted house every map.
Definitely, definitely. But all right, guys, with that, I mean, that's pretty much the overall thing and gist of it. I don't think they were doing anything else. Yeah, they're already offline. So, hopefully you guys got your wings. I got my wings. Move, you got your wings? But yeah, we got... Man, there's a lot of stuff to read. Holy shit. I guess should I just go straight into reading this one?
Watch videos.
Which videos? Hmm.
Oh, we forgot to bring up the freaking guild hideout.
Oh yeah, the guild
Oh
stuff,
my
yeah.
God.
The guild stuff also.
Yeah, he's right. Google was right. It's called Energy Blade.
Oh, it's just called Energy Blade? Shit. Alright, move, you got him. Look at that.
This is why I thought you
The energy shield thing, right?
where like 50 billion blades just flying out.
Yeah, I saw that too, yeah.
That's why I thought you were.
Holy shit. Those are some things. Well, let's start it off then. Okay. Let's start this one off. Here we go with this one. Oh, that's crossover audio. Oh, good. Angelo here. Jesus Christ. Angelo here. Welcome to my channel, and welcome back viewers to my stream. So, continuing on with the Path of Exile 3.16, Path of Exile Scourge, table of contents starting from this. This is a lot, so let's get it right into it. The Scourge Challenge League. Here we go. Challenge Leagues are a great opportunity for a fresh start in a new economy. All of your old characters and items are still present in the standard and hardcore leagues, but you're encouraged to join new leagues, complete challenges, and demonstrate your mastery of Path of Exile. In the Scourge Challenge League, you'll meet a mysterious figure who hands you a rusty-looking device called the Blood Crucible, and urges you to implant it in your body. As you slay enemies, the crucible fills with their blood. Once it reaches a certain threshold, you'll be able to activate the device. This will instantly thrust you into a parallel reality, an alternate raid class where some of the apocalyptic events is occurring. Oh, where some form of apocalyptic event is occurring. This is raid classes, parallel reality, and alternate raid class. I feel like this is exactly what he was saying during the thing. Actually, you know what? I think this is literally everything he Yeah, this is literally like a 1-for-1 thing on what he was saying earlier. It's the script. Yeah. At least that part. Okay, so let's go right here. Yeah, so basically that entire part was his script. So now you can put an item inside the Blood Crucible. While you're killing the Scourge, it absorbs corruption from the alternate raid class and focuses it into an item. After enough kills, your item is then ready to transform. When it does, it becomes corrupted and gains a pair of Scourge modifiers. One of these is beneficial mod, and one is a detrimental mod. These Scourge mods are in addition to the regular explicit and implicit mods or enchantments on the item. Once you're exploring the Atlas of Worlds, you may gain the ability to place maps in the Blood Crucible alongside your equipment. When a map absorbs enough corruption and transforms, it gains a beneficial and detrimental effect in the same way equipment does, but can also gain a modifier that changes the behavior of the Scourge League in that map entirely. 3.16.0, there are standard hardcore solo self-found variations of the Scourge Challenge League available. They have the same core mechanic and items. You can create private league versions of these leagues and mod them to make the game harder. The Challenge League includes a set of 40 challenges. There are microtransaction rewards when you complete 12, 24, and 36. The challenge rewards are only obtainable in this league and will be completed. And will be revealed in an upcoming news post. From the 19th challenge onward, for every third challenge, you will receive a piece of Scourge totem pole decoration for your hideout. The totem pole permanently showcases how many of the Scourge challenges you complete during the league. Major new content and features. In addition, added a new intelligence skill gem. Intelligence skill gem. So it's an intelligence gem. Energy Blade grants a buff which significantly lowers your maximum energy shield to transform your equipped weapons into swords formed from that energy. Casting a spell again removes the buff. Requires a non-bow weapon. Added a new Dex/Intelligence skill gem, Temporal Rift. This is the one I think everybody is gonna probably use. Reserves mana to apply a buff and leave after image of your recent past. Cast a spell again to return to the oldest after image, teleporting to that location, as well as resetting your life, mana, and energy shield to the values they had. Adding a new Dex Intelligence skill, Tornado. Create a tornado that repeatedly damages enemies around it. It will move forward for a duration, during which your projectiles can collide with it to deal damage as though it was an enemy. Then it will chase down enemies for a secondary duration and reflect a portion of the damage it took from your projectiles to them. Oh, okay, interesting. Fuck, I just lost my spot. To them, in addition to its own damage. Like, added a new dex skill, Poisonous Concoction. Throw an explosive ball that deals unarmed attack damage in an area that has a chance to poison. Can consume charges from a life flask to add further damage. Requires an empty main hand and no offhand weapon. That's the only problem that I don't like with it, was you have to specifically be empty or unarmed. Add a new intelligence skill, Soul Link. Basically, this is the IO one. I don't know if I'm gonna really mess with that, maybe. And there's Protection Link, which is the buff. And then, but that's one where if they die, you die. And Intuitive Link links you for the duration. Supports if the target dies, you also die. Yep. Adding a new Dex skill gem. Vampiric Link. Oh, details will be revealed in an upcoming news post. I'm assuming that's going to be like Life Leech. Let's see here. Added a new Strength skill gem, Flame Link. Okay, again. And then Destructive Link, new news post. Added 13 new Divination cards designed by our supporters. Added 6 new uniques. Added Expedition to the core game with a few adjustments. Please read the Expedition section for changes. As we move through the new leagues, we'll replace with obsolete one. In this case, Expedition replaces Perandus. Read Perandus removal. Introduce a Tainted Chroma Orbs, a currency item that reforges color sockets of corrupted items. Item can be obtained from Scourge encounters. Tainted Jeweler's Orb can reforge number of sockets on corrupted items. Scourge encounters. Tainted Orb of Fusing can... What was it? Reforges the link. Can be obtained by Scourge encounters. Tainted Blessing. Oh, wait, what? Tainted Blessing, a currency item that can be placed in the divine font to allow enchantments. To allow enchantment of corrupted gloves, boots, and helmets. Oh, okay, interesting. And introduce a Sacred Orb, a currency that randomizes the numeric values of the base defenses of an armor. I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm assuming, but then they said that's going to be the one step less than fucking a mirror. So if a mirror is 1 in 65 million chances, this is like 1 in 32.5 million chances. Yeah. Yeah, you're not going to get those. Minor new content and features. Added 2 new gem socket notches. Small notch and large notch pattern or whatever. You can change between these socket notches and the default sockets in the UI page. Why is... Huh? I'm kind of lost. Okay. Stackable items drop from chests and rewards at the end of encounters, such as Delve, Ritual, Incursion, Delirium, Blight, will no longer drop multiple stacks of the same item. Instead, they collate it in a single combined stack at the item. Map fragments for the Apex Sacrifice, Alluring Abyss, the Shaper's Realm, Absence of Value and Meaning, and the Pale Court now have a stack size of 10. Oh, sweet! Finally, that's great. That's super great. So they're not singles now. Good, good. Scarabs now also have a stack size of 10. That's cool. All right. Incubators now display the item level on their item tooltip and icon. It is now possible to stack incubators of the same type and item level with a stack size of 10. All right, cool, cool. So just, again, I feel this is the quality of life patch, 100%. It is now possible to promote a party member to replace you as the leader of your party if you are the current leader. Oh, cool. There we go. That's some Dota 2 stuff. An explosive or poisonous flask will now be visually attached to your character's belt when socketing the explosive concoction or poisonous concoction skills in your equipped items. Updated the visual buff effect for bone armor. That's cool, because otherwise just, like, green. Some monsters in Act 2 have had their visual effects updated, and the existing animations of many monsters have been improved. We'll be reviewing the balance of the monsters in Act 2 in a future patch. Oh, so they were almost done with Act 2, the rework, but they're not done with it. So just the monsters have new attacks and stuff. Well, what the fuck? Continue to incrementally improve the sound, art, effects, and environments. Good. Expedition changes. Expeditions have been added to the core game, and you can find expeditions from Act 6 onwards. And in maps, you'll have approximately an 8% chance to encounter an expedition site. Expedition artifacts are no longer tradable, which has 2 key effects. The first is that they are automatically collected as you complete expeditions, and the second is that all characters can now engage with... Okay, so now all characters can now engage with the Kalguran merchants without having to feel that their best plan is to trade the currency away to other players who use it more efficiently than them. Yeah, actually, I still feel this is the script. Yeah, but although they went into some details a little bit more on this. Several, yeah, okay. Problems with the system. Currency items, yeah, okay, yeah, you can still trade and sell the tradable currency, like the reroll currency. Logbooks now have a maximum area level of 83. Okay, that's good to know. Logbooks now display their area level on their item icon. Oh, that's cool. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Replace Parandis Scarabs with new Expedition Scarabs. Okay. This change affects existing Scarabs. So, if you have a Parandis one, it's now an Expedition one. Fuck, I should have got a bunch of those Expedition... Oh, the Parandis Scarabs, because they're going to turn into Parandis Scarabs. Or the Parandis Scarabs are going to turn into Expedition. Okay, so if you have any Parandis ones, they're going to turn into Expedition ones. Replace the Decadent Incubator with a new Kalguran Incubator, which can now be added to an equipable item, dropping an Expedition item after killing a certain amount of monsters. This change affects existing Decadent Incubators. Oh, so when this goes live... Wait, what? I don't know. Existing Decadent Delirium Orbs will be replaced with Kalguran Delirium Orbs, which adds a layer of Delirium with Expedition item reward types to maps. This is only source of Kalguran Delirium. This is the only source of Kalguran Delirium Orbs. These are unobtainable as item drops or from any other source. Interesting. Okay. Existing metamorph organs that previously gave Pirandus rewards will now provide expedition item rewards. Expedition rewards cannot be obtained from new metamorph encounters. Rog's crafting prices have been tweaked so common artifacts aren't in higher demand than lesser and greater. Finally, yeah, because like for some reason, all Rog ever wants, I want common. And like everything else I have like thousands of, and then fucking the common one I had like fucking 0. Let's see here. Monsters spawned in the expedition encounters now have 35% less chance to spawn beyond portals on death. What? Okay, I guess. Interesting. Expedition faction currency chests are now more common than other chests in expedition logbooks. Good. The runic monsters are duplicated. Remnant modifier is now rarer. Damn it. I love that modifier too. Remnant modifiers found in expedition sites that grant runic monsters and chests a chance to drop an additional map or unique now grant 20% chance, previously 35. Nerf? Remnant modifiers found in an expedition site that grant runic monsters and chests a chance to drop an additional gem, weapon, jewelry, item, armor can now be found at all levels of expedition site, previously up to 67. Okay, cool. Added new expedition watchstone modifiers, some of which will increase the amount of expedition rewards dropped by monsters. Cool. Alright. Pirandus removal. Pirandus has been removed from the core game. Some sources of Pirandus item rewards from other League content have been replaced with expedition item rewards, as noted. Pirandus coins can no longer drop, although you're still able to store any existing coins in the currency stash tab. The Pirandus Manor unique Chateau map can no longer drop, and it is no longer possible to open this map in a map device. The Mayor and Squandered Prosperity divination cards can no longer be obtained. Existing divination cards can still be turned in. The following uniques have been added to the core drop pool. 7 League Step, Umbilicus Immortalis, Tripanon, Runastra, and Xerfes' Last Breath. The Ivory Temple map boss has been replaced. Okay, interesting. Guild improvements. Here we go. You can now control-click items from your inventory. Yes, to the guild stash. You can also now shift-click an item, shift-click a stack of items in a guild stash to withdraw a partial stack of items. Currency, maps, quad, unique, divination, fragment, essence, delve, delirium, metamorph, and blight stash tabs can now be purchased for guild stashes. We've also added the ability to create stash tab folders and set affinities for guild stash tabs. The Stash Tab History webpage also has seen improvements, now displaying the quantity of item that has been added or removed, which the Stash Tab, and which Stash Tab those items were stored in. You can now set a custom date range to view changes within that frame rate, and download display history as a CSV file. Yeah. Introduce Guild Hideouts. Guild Hideouts feature a map device and crafting bench that can be used by all guild members. When in a party with fellow guild members, the party can all access the party leader's map portals from the guild hideout. Guild leaders can select which hideout to use for the guild hideout from ones they have discovered throughout the game. Microtransaction hideouts can also be purchased to be used for a guild hideout from donated guild points. Microtransaction hideout purchased for personal hideouts do not grant the ability to use for guild hideouts. Oh, you have to buy it again? Oh, you were on YouTube? Gotcha. Dig it, buddy. Let's see here. Microtransact purchase for personal hideouts, yeah, cannot be used. Hideout decoration for guild hideouts can be purchased using donated guild points. Oh, a lot, buddy, a lot. Hideout improvements. In addition to the guild improvements, we made one improvement to hideouts in Path of Exile Scourge. If a hideout closes with portals still open, it no longer prevents access to the map. Instead, whenever a player joins a hideout or guild hideout, any previous portals open are reopened if the designated maps, if the destination maps still exist. Map portals to an empty map instances will not expire so long as the map owner remains in either their hideout or guild hideout. The master level and favor system has been removed entirely. You are now unlimited now have unlimited access to a range of hideout decorations throughout the decoration tab in both personal and guild hideouts, excluding purchase microtransaction hideout decorations. We've added a tag system to search for hideout decorations, which can be used in addition to the existing search field to quickly locate specific decorations. As a result for these changes, the Forsaken Mastery achievement is now completed after defeating each Master's most dangerous foe. The Val Omnitech for Alva, Aul the Crystal King for Nico, Farul First of the Plains for Einhar, the Syndicate Mastermind for June, and the Shaper and Elder for Xana. Oh, damn. So that just kind of told me who the end bosses for all those guys are. The Watchstone modifier that granted increased Master Favor can no longer be rolled. Existing Watchstones with this modifier will still exist, but will do nothing. Increased Master Favor has been removed from Gracious Master Prophecy and the Atlas passive in the Uncharted realm. These still provide their other functions still. Uber endgame. Holy son of a bitch. Okay. Motherfucker. There we go. All right. Uber endgame content. Added new Blight Ravaged maps. These maps can be attained by completing high-tier Blighted maps and can be anointed up to 9 times with a maximum of 3 oils of the same type. Monsters within these maps both move faster and have substantially more life than those found in Blighted maps. Added new Unrelenting Timeless Emblems, which can drop from Domain of Timeless Conflict encounters. Unrelenting Timeless Emblems provide improved rewards, and the monsters gaining challenging modifiers each time they are revived. Many Legion monsters have had their maximum distance they are able to use their long-range skills reduced, or can no longer use their long-range ability against other Legion monsters. Added new Flawless Breachstones, which are more challenging and thus more rewarding than other kinds of Breachstones. Rare monsters in Breach domains now drop an additional reward type. The rare monsters in Flawless Breach domains dropping 2 additional reward types. Breach domain areas have additional random modifiers, with areas open from Flawless Breachstones having 4 additional random modifiers. Breach domain areas no longer have the modifier which grants increased quantity of items. Ah, really? Quantity of items found in the area. That sucks. Loot acclimated from killing monsters in Breach domains now drops upon reaching the boss arena portal, instead of dropping throughout the encounter. Okay, so once you reach the boss arena portal, that's when you get the drops? Interesting. Okay. Added 10 additional waves to the Simulacrum. It is now has a total of 30 waves. As you can expect, these are extremely difficult waves, but are very rewarding, and feature escalating chances for a Delirium boss to spawn. With each wave you play, the Simulacrum now has increasing chance of dropping Cluster Jewels, and past wave 20, Delirium unique items. The drop rate of Delirium Orbs from Delirium encounter has also been increased. Next, Atlas and map changes. The Atlas now has only 4 regions: Halework Hamlet, Valdo's Rest, Glenitch Cairns, and Lyra Arthane. The number of obtainable Watchstones has been reduced from 16, previously 32, and there are now 118 maps on the Atlas, previously 164. The following maps have been removed from the Atlas: Academy, Arachnid Tomb, Arena, Bazaar. No, they got rid of the beach! Aww. Beach, Belfry, Bramble Valley. Good, I didn't like Bramble Valley. Fuck that one. Burial Chambers. They took the Burial Chambers out? Wow. Oh, man, they took out Kage, or Cage, Castle Ruins, Chanel, the City Square. Well, we're not going to the beach anymore. That shit got removed. City Square, Cold River, Colonnade, Coral Ruins, Courthouse, Coves. The Coves, too? Shit. Crater, Crystal Ore, Desert Spring. Oh, that was the one Mono liked. Excavation, Factory, Frozen Cabins, Geode, Graveyard, Iceberg, Infested Valley, Ivory Temple, Jungle Valley, Lava Chamber, Marshes, Mesa, Pen. Wow, they got rid of your favorite Pen map, dude. Peninsula, Phantasmagoria, Pier, Precinct, Primordial Pool, Ramparts, Residence. Wow, Scriptorium? Shit, how are you supposed to get that one thing? How are you supposed to get That other upgrade, oh well. Shipyard, Shrine, Villa, and Volcano. The Piranhas Manor unique Chateau map has also been removed. The Augmented Distant Memory unique Courthouse map is now a unique Haunted Mansion map, as Courthouse is not currently on the Atlas. Oh, okay, so these are just gone for now. They'll rotate them in, but then every league it's only going to be 100, and they're going to remove all the other... Okay, all right. The unlock requirement for Xana's map device options have been reduced relative to decrease in number of maps on the Atlas. Each bonus objective you complete now increases the chance for maps to drop one tier higher by 1.5%, previously only 1%. Each 4 awakened bonus objectives you complete increase the effect of modifiers on non-unique maps by 1%, previously each 6. Okay. Map tiers and locations have been shuffled. Most maps are now initially found at different tiers. Item-based types of the Atlas have had their drop regions updated. With some being shuffled to other regions. Atlas rings now drop in tier 11. Wait, Atlas rings now drop in tier 11 or higher maps. Previously tier 6 or higher. Atlas rings? What are you talking about, Atlas rings? See here. The following base types can be found in Hayward Hamlet. Oh, okay. Crystal Belt, Grip Glove, Marble Amulet, Opal Ring, and Two-Tone Boots, Evasion Energy Shield. Following base types can be found in Valdo's Rest. Artillery Quiver, Convoking Wand, Iolite Ring, Spike Glove, and Two-Tone Boots, which is the Armor Evasion. Following types can be found in the Glennish Cairns, Apothecarium Gloves, Blue Pearl Amulet, Cerulean Ring, Two-Tone Boots, Armor Energy Shield, Vanguard Belt, and Vermilion Ring. So it looks like everyone's going to be doing Glennish Cairns for the Vermilion Ring. The following base types can be found in Lyra Arthane, Bone Helmet, Finger Silk Glove, okay, Fugitive Boots, Sea Glass Amulet, and Steel Ring. Additional targets for the following prophecy have been added, as their original targets can no longer be found on the Atlas. Have been added. Oh, additional targets. Okay, Battle Harden, Burning Dread, Dark Tongue Shriek, and the Malevolent Witch. The option for Maven to release all bosses at once is now a modifier found on the Maven invitations, and will no longer occur unless you open an invitation with this modifier. Captured boss progress in the Uncharted Realms is no longer lost in permanent leagues when the Atlas is shuffled. Some of the map bosses you are required to defeat to upgrade your Pantheon have changed as a result of these Atlas changes. Crafting recipes that were previously unlocked in maps that have been removed are now found within other maps currently on the Atlas. Many divination cards have found new homes as a result of the Atlas changes. The Fiend can now drop in Poor Joy's Asylum. The Army of Blood can now drop in Poor Joy's Asylum. The Bitter Blossom can now drop from Oshabi, Avatar of the Grove. Yeah, great. If I can ever see Oshabi. What the fuck, man? See here. Time Relic can now be found in the Expedition logbooks. The Jester can now drop from the Ash Lessard. Vinia's Token can now drop in the Palace map. The Drunken Aristocrat can now drop in the Laboratory map. Chains That Bind can now drop. Okay, so they're technically telling you where you can farm these cards. The Thaumaturgus can now drop in the Alleyways map. The Dapper Prodigy can now drop in the Palace map. Tyrant can now drop in the Primordial blocks. Jeweler's Boon can now drop in Mineral Pools. Undaunted can now drop in the Conservation map. The Messenger can now drop in the Port map. Baited Expectations can now drop in the Dry Sea map. A Note in the Wind can now drop in the Dry Sea map. The Academic can now drop in the Museum map. Unchained can now drop in the Dungeon map. The Unexpected Prize can now drop in the Palace map. Curse Words can now drop in the Cemetery map. The Journalist can now drop in the Haunted Mansion map. The Enthusiast can now drop in the Museum map. The Master can now drop in the Lair map. More is Never Enough can now drop in the Vault map. The Offspring can now drop in the Stagnation map. Mind's Eyes can now drop in the Bone Crypt map. And the Golden Era can now drop in the Basilica map. I'm about a third of the way down. Atlas passive changes. Some Atlas passives have been removed as a result of the number of Atlas regions changing, while others have been moved to another region. Here are the Atlas passives now found in each Atlas region. Hillwork Hamlet, Bumper Crop, Heart of the Grove, the Grove's Call, Amplified. So what are oh, these are the passives. Okay. All right. Seance, Paid in Blood, Sacred Lands, Finest Samples, High Yield, Escaped Experiment, Intelligence Gathering, Test of Loyalty, and Bribery. So it looks like Haywark Hamlet is the Sacred Grove. And what is that? That's the Harvest and Heist. Glenich Cairn, Scent of Blood, Torn Veil, Per Daimon. Underground Kingdom, Abyssal Army, Lightless Legion, Total Anarchy, Rogue Trader, Time Dilation, Resource Allocation, Contested Development, Face-to-Face, Protracted Battle, and High Value Target. So that one looks like Abyss and Legion. Lyra Airthane, Distinguished Demolitionist, Buried... Oh, so that's the Expedition League. Lyra Arthane, Ancient Writing, Secret Stash, Inside Job, Big Game, Great Migration, Natural Selection, Gatekeepers, Flash Breach, Within Their Grasp, Trespassers, and Exotic Goods. So, I'm assuming that is Expedition and Einhar. And Valdo's Rest, Persecutory Delusion, The Singular Eternity, Greater Forces, Ominous Arrival, Diplomatic Escort, Twice Tempted, Tamper-Proof, Guarded Hordes, Sulfite Infusion, Pack with Energy, Spores of the Wind, Immune Response, and Epidemiology. So that is what? A little bit of Sulfite. Not that many on Sulfite, honestly. Who is that? Tamper-Proof, I know, is the Strong Boxes. Spores in the Wind. What is Spores? Is that Delirium? Probably Delirium. Let's see here. New Expedition Atlas passes have been added. Distinguished Demolitionist, 35% increase explosive radius. New Expedition Atlas. Okay, these are new. Okay, so 35% increase explosion radius in area, 20% increase number of explosives in area. Buried Knowledge, 50% increase quantity of expedition logbooks dropped by runic monsters in area. Okay, that's good. Areas contain 25% increased number of runic monsters. Yeah, okay, that's good. Ancient Writings, remnants in the areas have 40% chance to have an additional suffix. Expeditions in areas have +2 remnants. Cool. And small expedition passives are areas have +3% chance to contain an expedition encounter. And then changes to Atlas passives. The previous Rich Veins and Sulfite Sentinels Atlas passives have been combined, now called Guarded Hordes. Okay, so Rich Veins, okay, and Sulfite Sentinel. Nice. This provides Voltaxic Sulfite veins and chests in areas that have 10% chance to contain double Sulfite. Sulfite veins and chests are guarded by Sulfite hoarding monsters. Dig it. Epidemiology no longer provides blighted maps found in areas are anointed. It now has blighted chests in area have 100% more chance to contain blighted maps, unchanged, and lanes of blighted maps in areas have 35% chance for an additional reward chest, previously found on Mass Mycelium. Flash Breach now also grants breaches in areas that have 30% monster density. Time Dilation now grants incursion in areas have 33% chance for monsters to be at least magic, instead of incursion monsters in areas are at least magic. Oh, so it's a RNG instead of a guarantee. The following Atlas passives in the Uncharted Realms have been changed. Close Allies gain 1 Atlas mission for each monster or each master each day. Areas have +7% chance to grant an Atlas mission on completion. Previously 10% to grant an Atlas mission on completion. Master of the Atlas no longer has Santa missions in area grant 100% increased favor, as favor system has been removed entirely. Atlas mission chance, previously called Master's Favor, now grants +3 chance to grant an Atlas mission from Atlas mission on completion. Instead of missions in areas grant 30% more favor. Alright, now we get to the problem solution part. Delve changes. The current state of Delve leaves players to spend a huge amount of time playing through relatively easy content in order to reach content that is more challenging and rewarding. Delve doesn't sufficiently reward this time investment. Make Delve difficulty and rewards scale much more quickly with depth. Grant high-level players immediate access to do harder delve content. Make a number of changes to the rewards, difficulty, and monster mechanics in delve content to make it more challenging and rewarding. Specifics. Holy balls. Okay. The difficulty of delve encounters now scales much faster. The difficulty of encounters at depth 500 is now roughly equivalent to the previous depth of 1,000. Depth 1,500 is now roughly equivalent to that, of depth 6,000. Okay. Of 1,500 is similar to that of 6,000. The availability of rewards and delves now scales much faster, with the intention that progressing deeper into the Azurite Mine is more rewarding than equivalent depths previously were. For example, depth 500 is now more rewarding than depth 1,000 previously was. As a result of these changes, the Azurite Mine has been reset in permanent leagues. Nico has drilled a mine shaft to the deepest level delve encounter you've completed in the league to pick up where you left off. This change does not affect gathered azurite or sulfite or upgrades you have purchased at the volcanic generator. Previously acquired delve depth and solo depth have been wiped from the permanent league ladders to get back on the ladder. Just keep playing delve and whatever level you can handle. City biomes in the azurite mine are now more common and can appear in earlier depths, but are now smaller on average. City biomes can no longer spawn without delve nodes. We've also introduced new delve biome modifiers that allow biome modifiers to spawn below depth 6,000. Okay. The area level of Azurite Mine now scales slightly faster, reaching area 83 at depth 145. Previously at 171. Nico's mineshaft can now drill deeper into the Azurite Mine, up to the level 101 by a character level 90. Delve encounters now contain fewer chests, though each chest is now more likely to drop interesting rewards. Good, because a lot of times the rewards were ass. Fossils and Resonator are now more commonly found within Delve and less commonly found from other sources. Increases to the base sulfite capacity at 1200, previously 600, scaling up to 6400 after 6 upgrades, unchanged. Alchemical resonators are no longer purchasable through Nico and can no longer be used to obtain chests or any other sources. Existing alchemical resonators will still function the same. Bloodstained Fossil is now corrupt an item, granting them a corrupted implicit modifier, previously granted a veil modifier. Enchanted Fossils have been renamed to Deft Fossils, which now grant more critical modifiers and no attribute modifiers, previously granted Labyrinth Enchantment. Encrusted modifiers have been renamed to Fundamental modifiers, which now grant more attribute modifiers and no critical modifiers, previously granted more sockets and the possibility of white sockets. Tangle Fossils now makes a random modifier type much more likely and prevents another random modifier type, previously granted any fossil modifier. The effects are fully revealed once a resonator is fully socketed. Labyrinth changes. Finding all 6 trials often took a very large number of maps. Assuming players were playing alone, it will average to around 150 maps to find them all, but could be very much more if players were unlucky. By this point, players who were often over-level for the content and were starting to encounter difficult enough endgame content where the extra ascending points were sorely needed. This problem will be further exacerbated by reduction in atlas size taking place in the Scourge area, or expansion. We recently added a means to open random trials with the map device by consuming an offering of the goddess. While this made finding the trials easier, it often less felt lousy as you sacrifice something of value. You could have used that to run a Eternal Labyrinth for more enchantment options and Labyrinth reward chests. Solution: in Path of Exile Scourge, you'll no longer need to complete all the trials of Ascendancy found in the maps in order to access the Eternal Labyrinth. You'll simply need to travel to the Labyrinth, paying 1 offering of the goddess. Accessing the Eternal Labyrinth no longer requires the completion of trials of Ascendancies found in maps, only the completion of previous labyrinths. It still costs 1 offering of the goddess to access. The Eternal Labyrinth now requires level 68 to access, previously level 60. Trials of the Ascendancy can no longer spawn in white maps, and the ability to consume an offering to the goddess in the map device to a random trial of Ascendancy has been removed. In Path of Exile, we are making a number of changes to improve how characters mitigate ailments, use flasks, and build defenses. We're also addressing the extreme power of auras and curses in parties, while improving the strength of these mechanics and builds for the small investment Finally, we're changing Elemental Overload and Elemental Equilibrium and massively buffing elemental damage over time to be less dependent on them. Assemble below are topics with identified problems and our intended solution. Below each solution is a spoiler tag with specifics of what we're changing, including patch notes. Please note that while we're still just a week out from release, anything that is subject to change based on our further testing and your feedback. Ailment mitigation. In 3.15, we changed how Flask prevented ailments and curse on you, but didn't provide enough reasonable alternatives for mitigating ailments. Solution: introduce a large number of options and improve existing options for characters to deal with ailments. Characters should now be able to pick between reservation skills that mitigate ailments, remove effects reactively with life or mana flask, gain immunity at a cost of the utility flask, or use improved modifiers on items and the passive skill tree to mitigate ailments and curses. Specifics. Holy shit. Certain skills now mitigate ailments. Purity of Elements. Aura now grants you and nearby allies are immune to elemental ailments. And you and all nearby allies gain 20 to 34% of elemental resistance. Previously 12 to 27. Now has a reservation of 50, previously 35. Anomalous Purity of Elements no longer grants you and nearby enemies have plus 0 to 2% chance to avoid elemental ailments. Instead, it now grants 0 to 10% increased effective aura. Eternal Labyrinth enchantments for Purity of Elements reservation been changed to match the values of other 50% reservation auras. Steel Skin has a buff grants immunity to bleeding. Cool. Tempest Shield is now a reservation effect and grants immunity to shocked, as mentioned below. Utility flasks have modifiers that grant immunity to ailments and during Flask Fest, but lessen the duration. This takes place with the modifier given at a specific ailment immunity if used while the ailment is active. For instance, fuck, I lost it. Let's see. For example, immunity to bleeding corrupted blood during flask effects, 35 to 39% less duration. New tiers of the modifiers that give immunity to an ailment if used while the ailment is active and have been added to life mana flask, providing up to 17 seconds of immunity at the highest level. Allied Consecrated Ground now grants 50% reduced effective curses on you while standing on it. A rebalance of passive clusters that provide ailments protection as well as passive across the passive tree. Between the Templar and the Witch, Asylum now grants chaos resistance as well as protecting against curses instead of increasing Consecrated Ground effect. Between the Witch and Shadow is a new cluster to protect against poison, bleeding, and stun. New source of protection from stun, curses, critical strike, and ailment, as well as more specialized mechanics like Corrupted Blood, Maim, Hinder, and Impale. New Keystone passive, add to the center tree, causes intelligence. Am I going to speed through? Probably not. With no inherent bonus to energy shield, but instead reduces elemental ailments duration on you. Many Pantheon powers have been updated to better migrate ailments, or mitigate ailments. Some Pantheon modifiers have been updated to be more of a choice with others. So the Brian King, you cannot be frozen, instead of you cannot be frozen if you've been frozen recently. That's much better. Soul of Arakali no longer grants 10% avoid lightning damage from hits, and now grants 10% reduced damage taken from damage over time, previously 5. Upgraded Soul of Arakali Pantheon no longer grants 30% reduced shock on you, or 30% reduced shock duration on you. Instead, it is now grants debuffs on you expire 20% faster. Upgraded Soul of Arakali Pantheon now grants 40% chaos resist against damage over time, previously 25, and 20% increased recovery rate of energy shield if you stop taking damage over time, previously 50. So is that a nerf? What is that? Yeah. Soul of Abarath no longer grants 5% fire reduced 5% reduced fire damage taken while moving or unaffected by burning ground. Now grants 60% less duration of ignite on you. Soul of Aberranth Pantheon no longer grants 50% reduced ignite duration on you. It now grants unaffected by burning ground as well as 10% movement increased moving speed while on burning ground. Soul of Shikari upgrades from Soul of Shikari Pantheon powers have been swapped. Soul of Shikari now grants 50% less duration of poisons on you, and you cannot be poisoned while there are at least 3 poisons on you, previously 5. Upgrade Soul of Shikari Pantheon now grants 5% reduced chaos damage taken and 25% reduced chaos damage over time while on caustic ground. Soul of Ralakesh no longer grants 25% chance to avoid bleeding, instead now grants moving while bleeding doesn't cause you to take extra damage. Holy shit. Oh shit, where was I? Oh, there we go. Okay. Let's see here. Soul of Yugal no longer grants 50% chance to reflect enemy chills and freezes. Instead, it now grants 50% chance to reflect hexes, and you and your minion take 50% reduced reflected damage. Previous 25. That's good. Upgraded Soul of Yugal now grants 30% reduced effect of curses on you, previously 20%. Soul of Garou Khan no longer grants 5% chance to evade attacks if you've taken a savage hit recently. Instead, it now grants 60% of the effect of shock on you. Soul of Tukohama now grants, while stationing, up to 3% additional physical reduction every second, up to a maximum of 9 previously. 2% up to a maximum of 8. Upgraded Soul of Tukohama no longer grants, while stationary, gain 0.5 recovery per second per up to a maximum of 2%. Instead, it now grants regenerate 2% of life per second while stationary. Crafting modifiers have been updated. The Veiled modifier on a body armor that grants 25 to 30% chance to avoid elemental ailments and being stunned now grants 30 to 35. Chance to... Okay, yeah, so it's basically a lot of that. Added new crafting bench modifiers. Cool, sounds good. Crafting bench, unlock location. So this used to be unlocked in Act 4, now it's unlocked Act 6, which is rank 2 attribute track, 3 attributes. It's now unlocked in maps. He used to be unlocked in the Western Fortress, or Forest, in Act 6. Rank 1 ailment and sun, curse mitigation, and the Ascent, Act 4. These were previously unlocked maps. The best map crafting bench became this one with another damage over time option. This unlock was the Incursion Temple, but now is found in a map. The remaining new crafting options are unlocked alongside other ailments, stun, curse, mitigation, crafting options in the Ascent Act 2. The modifier level of the existing modifier in rank 1 ailment, stun, curse, mitigation category has been lowered. So the item level requirements. Certain rarity, updated certain rare item modifiers, added some new ones. Shields, yeah, okay. So some of these are very specific. Interesting. Improve avoidance versus values on essences. Okay, so now it's 60% instead of 44. See here, new essence modifiers. Yeah, improve avoidance. Added 2 new modifier, regular jewels, timeless jewels, clusters. Yeah, just a lot of stuff. Flasks. Many flask modifiers grant buffs during effects, which isn't very well suited for life or mana flasks and short and reactive nature. Added new modifiers to life and mana flasks, that are impactful but brief, and have a duration rather than applying added during flash effect. Damn. I might have to just finish this later. I feel that the turmeric is taking hold of me already. I'm trying, but holy shit. So I am at utility flasks. Yeah, so guys, with that, I'm gonna have to call it a stream there. Hopefully you guys all got your wings. But yeah, I am fucking already passing out, and I'll have to do all this stuff later. But as long as we all got our wings, we know what's happening. You got your Red Bull, good. We have, what, 8 days, give or take, till new league, new fun time. For sure, looks like I'll be playing regular league now. But thank you guys. New league, new me. And I'll see you guys out there. Thank you much for watching. Later. Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
Vaya con Dios.
Alright guys, you have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow then. Later.